I feel like if we were allowed to use music, we're not totally, but if we would, I would go with The Doors' "Riders on the Storm" right now. Riders on the storm.
You know what?
Riders on the storm.
I don't think you can even sing it.
Into this house. Really? Okay, I'll stop. They're all
just
dead.
kidding.
But they're all dead. What the fuck? Well, they're not all dead.
I think there's one still
But the
floating
big guy.
around out there.
The big guy dropped off at 27. This 400th episode of the Joe Rogan Experience podcast is brought to you by LegalZoom.com. If you have anything that you need to get done legal style, like whether you want to incorporate and become an LLC, which is a limited legal corporation or some shit, I don't know what the fuck that actually stands for. If you want to get a will, if you want to even get divorced, bam, you can get divorced on LegalZoom.com. Essentially what it does is it sets up a structure so that you can do things like incorporating yourself or working on copyrights or trademarks and do it legally without the use of an attorney. They also will provide you with a contact for an independent attorney if you need additional guidance. So if you feel like you're entering into this, you're like, maybe I can do this, and then halfway through you're like, shit, they'll help you out. So it's not scary. But you're going to be able to do it. You know how I know you're going to be able to do it? Brian did it. Okay? I want you to think about that.
I did it drunk at 4 in the morning. I don't even remember doing it.
That's not to say that Brian might not be going to jail next week for that very same series of clicks.
Mm-hmm.
He shouldn't be responsible. He was drinking.
That's right.
You should be able to sue the alcohol companies for that, whichever ones were responsible.
LegalZoom should have a breathalyzer.
LegalZoom is not a law firm. What they do is they provide self-help services at your specific direction. It's pretty simple stuff, though. It's very clear to follow, and it can save you a lot of money, and it can also save you a lot of time. And you can do it, in your fucking house. You don't have to go somewhere. You can do it naked. Nobody can stop you. Nobody can stop you, Joe Diaz. Nobody. Do you understand this? So if you have an idea for a business that you haven't done anything about, you can incorporate that shit online. The online process couldn't be easier. Go to LegalZoom.com. If you enter the code name Rogan, you'll save yourself some cash. All right, you fucks? We're also brought to you by Stamps.com. Stamps.com is the official delivery system for the Desquad.tv t-shirts. So if you see those t-shirts that Brian has made and designed, all of those bitches get delivered through Stamps.com. So we know this is a real legit product. And what Stamps.com does, I should say that clearly, Stamps.com does, what they do is they allow you, if you're selling shit from your house, they allow you to do all the weighing and packaging at home. Then you can print up your own actual postal information. Joey Diaz is talking in the background like I can hear you. What are you guys arguing over?
Nothing.
Duncan, are you distracting him in the middle of the fucking all-important commercials? How dare you?
I don't mean to get
How
in the way
dare
of
you?
capitalism.
You're so non-corporate, man. You can't even help yourself. You do it almost against your own will.
I don't want to get in the... There's a
Fight the power,
there's a
man!
government shutdown going on right now, Joe.
true.
It's not time to advertise.
All right, that's what I'm saying. Stamps.com is a great way to send out kitty cat t-shirts. That's my point. All right, you don't have to go to the post office and weigh everything out. Everything you do it at home. They provide you with a scale. If you enter in the code word JRE, they give you a sweet offer. No risk trial, $110 bonus offer, includes a digital scale and up to $55 free postage. So go and check it out. Use the code word JRE and get your $110 bonus offer. We know it works because Brian uses it so much better than going to the post office and having to weigh all your shit out and talk to people that don't want to talk to you. So Stamps.com. We're also brought to you by Onnit.com. Did I say you have to use the code word JRE?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Code word JRE for Stamps.com. Yeah, you're right, folks. You're like, what the fuck? If I want to use these things, why don't you have the same code word? You're right. We've thought about this a million times before. However, it's probably never going to happen, so deal with it.
It's very weird that it's not, though.
It all should be the code word Rogan.
Yeah, why mix it up?
I don't know. People get silly. I don't understand people, Brian. I try. I don't understand myself, though. So what the fuck? Anyway, Stamps.com, code words JRE. We're also brought to you by Onnit.com. That's ONNIT. Use the code name Rogan. You will save 10% off any and all supplements, including Alpha Brain, which Joey Diaz is on right now. He's jacked up on Alpha Brain.
How do you know?
I don't know. I smell it in the air.
It's a new mood.
Can I have some brains?
I have some He-Man.
You do get jacked on that shit.
Gotta charge
God
up.
Damn.
Yeah. Here we go. We're running out of them.
Especially when you mix it with a sativa or an edible.
Hyenas.
It takes you to a different fucking level. Of
I goes
jack.
through those things like crackers. I can't keep a bottle in the house.
No,
It's
I
gone
know.
in 2 days.
And I feel bad calling the kid, but
No.
I'm
Don't
embarrassed.
feel bad. We love you using it. We love it.
I feel fucking bad.
Me too.
I got the daily packages left though. Those are delicious too. So
For all the people that call bullshit on anything like Alpha Brain, just try it. The way we have it set up is so easy. Or don't try it. That's cool too. But if you want to try it, there's a 90-day, 30-pill money-back guarantee when you buy one of these bottles of 30 pills. All you have to do is say, this stuff sucks, and you get your money back. You don't have to return the product. No one's selling you anything that's bogus. All we're trying to sell you is the best supplements that we can find that we can sell. Whether it's the best protein power or the best strength and conditioning equipment, it's all we're interested in doing. I want the stuff that I use. I'm a big proponent of kettlebells and all this other shit like battle ropes and club bells. They're awesome. I use them all.
Shroom Tech. I'm hooked on it. Addicted like peanut butter. I love Shroom Tech.
Shroom Tech is a cordyceps mushroom supplement that it gives you more endurance. It gives you more juice. It's what the Chinese Olympic team used. They found out about it when China started kicking ass in the Olympics and track and field. And they were like, what the fuck is going on here? And they found out they were taking this cordyceps mushroom and adding it to their training. Yeah, that was when it was first discovered.
When are you supposed to take it? Like before you work out?
Yeah, take it like an hour before you work out. Use the code name Rogan, save 10% off any and all supplements. And like I said, we got a full array of everything from health and fitness supplements to strength and conditioning equipment. We even sell like blenders. Like just sell what I used to make kale shakes and smoothies, one of those Blend Tech blenders. You can stick an iPhone in it. We're like, fuck it, we'll sell it. We should sell it. It's the shit. So that's it. Go to onnit.com, use the code word Rogan, and save yourself 10%. All right, folks, this is the 400th one. This is a big one. This is a goddamn
We're here,
milestone.
baby.
Congratulations.
Joey Diaz, Duncan
400
Trussell,
fucking
Brian
episodes.
Redman. Cue the music.
400.
Even I Love Lucy ain't got 400 fucking episodes.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan podcast by night, all day.
I Love Lucy.
How many episodes of I Love Lucy? You can sit there for fucking 2 years and not watch I Love. He has a kid. They go to Panama. They meet Superman. He puts the fingerprint. How many fucking I Love Lucy's? Real quick, not to throw you off. I only take 3 Shroom Techs because one time I took like 5, dog, and I couldn't control myself.
Really?
Like when I started doing the Shroom Tech, I would go to the elliptical and I could only do 7.
The
to 9.
elliptical.
I could only do 7. I could only do 7 to 9 minutes.
Yeah.
And I would start getting stressed out. Now with the Shroom Tech, I could do 45, and that's because I get scared. I get off. I hit the bag before I get on the elliptical now.
Yeah.
For 30. So that's how much, I've been working on it for fucking 5 months.
Right.
But the Shroom Tech, you're supposed to take them towards body weight, correct?
Yes.
And I don't even know how to do the math on that. So I just take 3 of them just to be safe.
Right.
But they're fucking, I'm telling you, man, I like them.
Yeah, I take
That's
5.
the biggest thing. You take 5.
I take
gotta
5 of
take
those
like 8
before I
of them
work
then.
out.
That's crazy.
It's just a lot of B12, and a lot of cordyceps mushroom. And, it's nothing bad for you. I've never had a bad experience from taking 5. I wouldn't advise people to take 5. I would say cut it off at 2.
I take
But
3.
I get gangster with them. I found all these football players were getting gangster with it. They take like 5 Alpha Brains and 6 Shroom Techs. And I was like, these guys are gigantic. So I'm like, I'll try 5. Let's see what 5 is like.
But doesn't that follow that same rule that guy told you, like, don't take too much of, like boner pills or something like that?
Yeah, well, it's really, I would say yes, but it's all natural. It's nothing like radicals happening to your body. It's not a stimulant. It's not like, I wouldn't worry about it. I wouldn't take more than 5.
You know what's going to happen because of this? You're going to be watching CNN.com and you're going to hear about some psychopath wandering into D.C. with a shotgun, and then pictures of Alpha Brain are going to start flashing up. He had 700 bottles in the backseat of his car.
He would be enlightened. He wouldn't be going with a gun. He would be going with hugs. He'd be try to hug him and they shoot him.
That gets you killed faster
Share about
than
the
guns.
woman. She was suffering from postpartum, and she was driving around. She was on some sort of medication.
Yeah.
Driving around the White House, and she got in a gunfight with the popo. They wound up killing her. She had a baby in her car. I mean, it's so crazy.
Every time I
Story's
see
so
stuff
crazy.
like that, I think, man, I wish you could do that in Grand Theft Auto. It's like you can't drive kids around. If you notice that, there's no kids in Grand Theft Auto. Not a single kid.
Why would you want to drive little fake kids around?
But
Why not? I want it to be realistic. Drop them off at school, drive them off cliffs.
Wow.
You can kill dogs in it though.
Yeah,
That's-
that's where we draw the line. You can't have fake killing of babies.
You
'Cause
can't do it.
if you encourage that in any way, shape, or form, and then it somehow becomes a reality, like someone decides to make sport of killing babies because it's a part of a video game, it's going to be a real problem.
How fucking
It's-
crazy is it? This is happening now every 3 weeks, people.
It's pretty crazy.
This is not even a joke no more. Like, it's happening every 3 weeks. And you know what? It's going to happen around here at a fucking park, at a stupid basketball game, at a fucking taco place.
There's a lot of issues. A lot
There's
of
a
issues.
lot of fucking issues. And I'm sitting there going, is this a setup? Is somebody hanging out outside a fucking psychiatrist's office, and when they see some fucking guy come out, they give him a gun and $20 and say, "What? I mean, what the fuck is going on?"
No, I don't think that.
I don't think it's-
I don't know what to think.
I think
anymore.
it's natural. That's what I think.
Really.
I think
when
you
we
have
were
this
growing
many
up, when we were
people.
kids, it was this natural to go into.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's natural when you get this many people that are on, first of all, on drugs. You have a massive amount of people in this country that are on all sorts of drugs, whether they need them or not. The reality is the amount of people that are on prescription medication is very high. Then you're going to have natural amounts of mental illness. When you have a high population, you have higher amounts of mental illness. They've shown this in rat population density studies, apparently. I was listening to this podcast about it. I think it was Psychedelic Salon, where McKenna was talking. I forget. It might have been Art Bell, either way. They were talking about rat population density studies, that they did the same thing with rats, where they started them small, put like 100 rats in a room together, or 10 rats or whatever, and they just kept ramping it up until they were on top of each other. And when they were on top of each other, they started exhibiting the same sort of mental illnesses that you see in people, where like they stand in the corner and would just shake and rock back and forth. They couldn't handle it. You start to see all sorts of weird aberrant behavior, and they think it's from the overstimulation, because when you get to a population density like that, it's very difficult for the human body to tolerate. It's very difficult for the human body to deal with the sheer numbers of people that you interact with on a daily basis. It's almost completely unnatural for us. And so the idea is that in these scenarios, most of us can keep it together, but there's going to be a certain amount that have mental illness, and coupled with a certain amount of extra stress that our highly populated cities are providing, with a certain amount of extra craziness because they're on prescription medication, and then just the stress of life, period, all of that together, being unemployed, financial stuff, boom, powder keg.
But isn't this stuff happening mostly in the United States? In other overpopulated countries, you don't hear about these massacres happening.
You do about the one in Finland where the guy murdered those kids.
That's right. There was the guy in Finland, but
was
it
that
seems
Finland or Iceland?
that was
Finland.
I think it was Finland.
Remember Young Joe, the big one was in San Diego when the kid went into McDonald's.
Yeah.
Remember kids? That was the big one. That's it. That was, you heard about, you went home and there was a special eyewitness news report. They were in San Diego and the guy had a shotgun, and that was, now it seems like you expect it. It's a daily occurrence now.
Well,
and some are worse than others.
It's also, there's a lot of people out there that feel disenfranchised. And there's a lot of people out there that they don't feel like they can make a dent in this world unless they do something really bad. There's people out there that feel like to get noticed and to get people to recognize them, they can do that if they do something really bad.
I think it's a love famine. I think people are starving for love. People in the United States don't express love in a normal way. It's a really weird thing. Like, if you ever like that, like you might be around friends or even just talking to your brother or something, and you have this impulse where you want to say, "I love you, man. I love you," but you don't do it. There's a thing that triggers in you where you feel, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to sound weak.
Right.
And I think that's what it is. I think people are just so turned around backwards as to the flow of nature, the flow of life, that they're sort of malfunctioning because of that.
Yeah, there could be that for sure. There's also this weird transitionary period the human race is going into as we get more and more information on a daily basis from the internet. It's more and more obvious that the world we live in is fucked. It's like the system's terrible. We know that we can operate as individuals and we can be really friendly with each other. You know, we can. The people in this room can. We can party. We can live together. We could. If it was just us on the planet and we were the only people that we interacted with, we'd have a great time. So why is it that when you get massive amounts of people, all of a sudden there's all this death and there's all this fucking fighting and there's all this chaos and there's all this, you know, lawsuits and bullshit and what is it? You know, what it is about numbers?
Sounds like the fucking Kardashians. You know, here's the other thing. It's two people can have a life now. Like you and Duncan could own a business. Do you know that? And not even talk to each other.
Yes.
You could live in your home, and Duncan could live in your home. You don't have to talk to each other. I'm very insecure. Why do you don't like texting?
Why?
I'm insecure. I want to hear you.
Oh, you want to know, like, hear the person's voice.
I want to hear you. Don't text me.
And you don't want even voicemail messages either because you want to communicate.
I'm old school because I don't want to ever lose that. I don't know how to say.
I don't know
how to say the word. We're disenfranchising ourselves from ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that some people can handle it and some people can't. I can't handle it. You know, I was fucking 30 when I was 20. So I'm an old soul. I like it. I like the contact. To me, I need to hear your voice.
Want to hear one of the all-time best douchebag actor stories?
Yes.
I'm at a restaurant once, and this douchebag actor is there, and he's by himself eating, and I think he's crazy. And he starts talking to a couple that's near them, like they're sitting by themselves on a date, and you know he's fairly famous, so he starts talking to them, like, "How long have you two been together?" You know, and they're you know they don't know what to do, but they kind of recognize him, so it's kind of weird. So they kind of are stuck in this thing where they have to talk to the guy. And then I'm watching this play out, and he's talking to him. He tells the woman that she's an old soul.
Oh, Jesus.
He told her she was you seem like an old soul. You really seem like an old soul. You guys really, I sense something with you two. Like, this is an amazing relationship, isn't it? It was so fucking strange. And I was like, get me out of this town. Get me out of here, you people with your fucking emotional support dogs. I told you about that shit.
No, I
I'm at
seen
a
a
restaurant.
guy bigger than me get on a plane with a French poodle. I was cracked right there. Bigger than me. 400, 480, 500 with a fucking French poodle. Go ahead. I'm sorry to interrupt.
That's
Just to let you
hilarious.
fucking know. Just don't even get me started on that fucking issue.
LA has people have figured out that there's a workaround to this Americans with Disabilities Act.
Yes.
And you can say that your dog provides you with emotional support, and you can be like a regular person, and you can go into a restaurant with a fucking Labrador.
See, this is a thing. This is a thing I got to confess. When I was with Natasha, we realized this trick that you can put a red vest on the dog with a little cross on it. You can order them on the internet, and legally, people can't ask you what your disability is. So it's like, because when you see somebody with a Chihuahua, it might cross your mind to think, how's this thing going to help them if they start having a seizure? Like, what's it really going to do? It's
going to let you know he's dead. Bark, bark.
Yeah.
Bark, bark, bark.
So, like, we started saying that we were doing that, and then, man, got some emails from people who are disabled, and they're like, you have to understand. I have to have this dog. Like, it's trained to either guide me, it's trained to, like, help me if I have a seizure. And every time you assholes put one of those fake vests on a fucking dog so that you can go and eat in a nice restaurant with it, you're making it much more difficult for me to do it, because people are getting increasingly suspicious, where they used to not be at all. So just leave your fucking dog at home if you want to go eat pasta. Don't gum up the gear. Don't get in the way of people who are actually fucking sick.
Yeah,
because there
cunts.
You cunts. I was one of those cunts.
In Columbus, Ohio, Christina Pazitsky and Tom Segura brought their dog using the same thing.
See, that shit is so ridiculous. People with dogs think that just because they love their dogs, that dirty, stinky, open-assed animal
It is not
can just be
open-assed.
allowed. Yes, it is. They're
Not my
rubbing their
baby.
little asses on chairs, and that ass on the chair could have worms in it, and the microscopic worms could get in my hand, and I could get worms. That's real. It's a dog, man. It's a fucking dog. It's creepy enough that people drop silverware on the floor and pick it up and still use it.
Yes.
Like you're gonna wipe off with a napkin all the fucking shit eggs that are stuck to the bottom of your shoe.
My dog's shit eggs are clean.
Dude, I love dogs. You know I do. I've always had dogs. But bringing dogs to a restaurant is a massive douchebag move.
But
How about on a fucking plane?
Or
It's just as bad.
How about on a plane when you got to sit next to somebody with a fucking dog? Listen, I love animals too, but I don't expect somebody else to like them. I'm old school. You want to listen to music, put your fucking earphones on, and I'll put mine on. You don't
Yeah.
have to hear each other's shit. You might like something different. So I'm the same way. I feel like if I was to walk into somebody's space with a dog they didn't even know, I'd be fucking feeling weird.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know. That's just how I was built up. Like I'm wasting your fucking time. And there's people who think they could do that shit on fire. And I know it guides you from emotional support, but so does a pop brownie. You eat a little half of a pop brownie, you go to a restaurant, you're okay. You can leave the fucking dog in the car with the air on, and
Some people can't leave the dog anywhere. They want
they're
that
scared of
dog
the
with them all the time.
I love my cats. I worry about earthquakes.
Most people who ate,
But you gotta.
if people ate pot brownies like you eat pot brownies and went into restaurants, they would need emotional support.
No. Hey, bro, I'm talking about. I've had conversations with people that do not smoke marijuana. They're not potheads. They eat brownies, and they've given up. They eat little pieces of brownies. They'll buy like 100-milligram brownie on Monday at Divine Wellness, and it lasts them 4 days. And they drive to Warner Brothers, and they communicate with people, and they threw away their fucking pills.
Wow.
Okay, I know.
What pills were they on?
You know, the shit that they give you when you go to the doctor and tell them that you hear voices, whatever the fuck they give you. Whatever they give you, Joe. Adderall,
I think they give you Adderall if you
Zoloft.
I'm so sorry.
Zoloft,
Whatever. I'm
right?
sorry, guys. I don't know.
No, hey, I know
It's not
something.
my
I
world.
know what you're saying, though.
But so that's how I meant it. I didn't mean
think
it
it's real-
in a
it's-
funny way.
It's real tricky to decide what medication is right for anybody. I think it's real tricky to try to figure out how another person's mind works. And that seems to be the issue that they have when they're prescribing those medications in the first place. Like when our friend was on them, I think one of the things that came up was that they had to constantly change his dose and give him
Absolutely.
different stuff. And they were like, try this. Tell me how you feel on this. Like it's that simple. Like they give you stuff to try. And you're like, well, I guess I feel good. Okay, you think that's a good dose? And you're like, well, I feel pretty good. Everything seems pretty good today.
Yeah.
Like, okay, all right, we're gonna keep you at that dose. And when they start doing shit like that, it's like it becomes very subjective. Like, why does this one work really good on you and that one work really good on him?
I was on Zoloft when I was in college.
Why were you on it?
I got depressed.
Wow, what was getting you depressed?
I don't know. I'm not really sure that I completely figured it out, but I don't know.
How long were you on it for?
I was on it for probably 6 months, and I couldn't come. It made it so that I couldn't come anymore. Like I could get it up, but I couldn't ejaculate. I couldn't
awesome.
Wow.
couldn't have any orgasms.
That's Brian's favorite new drug.
I know. What is this called? Zoloft?
Zoloft.
All right.
It's
Yeah.
also really bad for your brain, though, dude. Especially if you're not supposed to be on
Well,
it.
it was. You know what it did? What it did was it did produce this feeling that I now associate with when I'm being really healthy, like when I'm meditating a lot or exercising regular, eating right, or when I get all my ducks in a row. This nice, clear tranquility will generally come over things, so that my mind isn't reactive when any weird, shitty thing happens. It's
Right.
like you just are sort of at this nice, tranquil level. It kind of reproduced that at the cost of not being able to have orgasms. And then when I just stopped taking it and went out in the woods, because I was working in the summer camp, went out in the woods for...
Shot load like a donkey with a cattle prod up his ass.
All over there.
First time coming after how long?
God, I don't know, man. It was a while. I mean, it's not like I couldn't come. It's just like it took forever. Like if you've ever taken a narcotic and tried to jerk off, it's like that. It's like it just doesn't happen. It's like that. So, but you can do it if you really apply yourself and work really hard, and you can squeeze some jizz out of
So
the thing.
after it's over, does it feel like you accomplished something?
Yeah, it feels like you put your cock in a pencil sharpener. Because you've been jerking off for an hour straight.
I've at 2 points in my life, I've jerked off to the point where I had a blister on my dick.
Oh,
Jesus.
an actual,
Yeah.
like a blister?
Yeah,
Like
no,
a blister?
like a red spot where I
Yeah, I
wore
had
through
one
the
of those.
skin.
I had one of those.
Fuck.
I had
Twice.
a couple times.
Some dry jacking.
You're serious?
On 2 separate occasions in my life, I did that. That's how stupid I am.
I had it one time.
Beat off to my dick. was
Dry
sore.
jacking.
Hey, when you're young, especially when you're young and single, especially if you're trying to stay single, like you're trying to be focused in your career. It was when I was very young. When you're
Yeah.
trying to be focused in your career, the last thing you want to do is be thinking about sex. And just for me, my solution was just beat off on the reg.
That
And
should-
then it becomes an addiction, really.
That should be in the Constitution, where before politicians make big decisions, they have to masturbate. I bet this shutdown wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
If like Boehner and Obama had to jerk off before they decided to do whatever they were going to do.
There would definitely be less tense.
Is it still shut down?
It's still shut down. Yeah.
I got about
I don't
22
understand it.
fucking hate emails the other day when I went out the other night to work out, and on the way home, it was 20 to 10, and I saw the weed store open. I go, let me go in there. And on the way home, it dawned on me that it's 20 to 10, and the weed store is still open. But no, the way I worded it was the government shut down.
And the weed store's
And
still
the
open.
weed store is still open and will be for the next 2 hours. Fucking, I got hate mail. Fuck you, you fat fuck.
Why is that bad? Why would you get hate mail
Because
from that?
people were like, you don't understand what's going on with the government. This is bad. This is all because of Obama. Guys, it's a fucking tweet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
wrong with you? This is
Come on.
why it shut down. 'Cause
Don't-
of fucking momos like you.
Yeah, don't get mad at Joey Diaz for stating the obvious.
Can you believe that?
Hey, I have-
Because every time there's a stupid article or something on Twitter and on the media, we get fucking Twitter from people across the country like haters. Hey man, they're gonna shut the fucking stores down. What are you gonna do then? No more. And all of a sudden, these fucking stores are still rocking and rolling. Denver is
Yes.
rocking and rolling. I was in Portland last week, and those motherfuckers don't know what it is not to smoke. You know, those fucking savages up there, they walk around with pot trees and shit and knapsacks. And
Yeah.
I mean, that's it. They have no idea. So all of a sudden, the government shut down because they got no GETAs. But these fucking states got so much GETAs and taxes. I think California is broke, but at least they're generating. Let's look up the fucking numbers, people. What's Denver generating? What's Denver? Did you see that 60-minute show?
Well, what they're saying is
Yeah.
that it literally is going to turn the economy around. in the
Around.
States.
This is it.
Completely. Clink, 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 clink. And these dummies, by the way, who are the same dummies who are anti-drugs,
Yes.
it's almost like secretly they want drugs to be legal, and the only way they can go about it is to have the government completely collapse
Right.
so that they can't regulate them anymore, and then the drugs will take over, and the drugs will let them understand
Yeah.
how they've fucked up the entire country with their cunty egos.
Yeah.
And
That's
then
great.
then they can apologize. But it's almost like the only thing that can save them at this point is pot. Out of all the ones that are dangerous, out of all the ones that you want an instant change in the economy, of course it's not going to be under corporate control. You got to realize that. You ready for that? Because it's going to be under control by anybody who wants to grow pot. That's the problem. If you make it legal, how legal is it going to be? Is it going to be legal to grow like a tomato? Like I have tomatoes in my yard. Is it going to be okay if I grow pot in my yard? Because if that's the case, it's pretty easy to do, man. Good luck. We're off to the races. The whole economy is going to change.
Wasn't there a time when weed was totally legal?
Totally
anyway?
legal.
And no one even thought about
Before the 1930s.
it. No one even. It wasn't
Yeah.
even a thing. Like it was just something else you smoked.
It was so common and so normal and so used as a textile and a commodity. Like it was so important to the making of clothes and for all sorts of different things that they had before they came out with the decorticator. When they came out with the decorticator, it led them to be able to process this shit really fucking easy. And all the difficulty that they had with processing in the past was gone. One machine completely figured out how to take this hemp and instantly turn it into what you could use for paper, building materials. Henry Ford made his first fucking car. He had the fenders made out of hemp. It's an amazing plant. Like it's one of the most durable fucking plants that's ever existed, and it's lightweight. It's really weird. It's not like any other plant. So the idea of making that illegal was so ridiculous that they had to make the name marijuana. What they did was, Harry Anslinger and William Randolph Hearst, and Hearst controlled all these newspapers. But he also controlled all this paper. He controlled all these, like, he had forests, and these forests would chop down this wood and use it to make paper. He was going to have to convert all that to hemp. Like, Popular Science was saying hemp, the new billion-dollar crop. Like, they got it in because of the applications for, like, clothing and nylon and fuel. That's how they got it in. They got it in as a commodity. They essentially banned an incredible natural commodity, one of the greatest ones ever, so that they could have nylon for, like, ropes and shit like that, so that Hearst didn't have to transfer his mills over to hemp paper. Like, there's a bunch of weird economic reasons. It just stuck so good. In the 1930s, it's still stuck.
Yeah.
Like, we're running around with the fucking internet with cold syrup and alcohol and fucking antidepressants and everything else. And to this day, one of the best plants that's ever existed on this planet for people is illegal. Illegal. I mean, you don't need any more proof than that we're fucking retarded. Like, you want to talk about a backwards ass civilization. They've got the best plant ever illegal. Then nothing else can fuck with it. There's nothing else you can eat, make houses with, make clothes with, and that motherfucker's illegal.
It's going to be interesting seeing the population growth for the places that are legal now,
Yeah.
and seeing if there's a growth in like music and arts, like if it's becomes like Portland becomes the new Seattle in like just 2 years, or if, like
Right.
some.
Well,
of the,
it's illegal in Portland.
Or
It is illegal?
Yeah, it's illegal in Portland.
Weed
Portland didn't
stores
pass.
or
No,
the
well, you
hemp?
can have you can have medical. They didn't make it legal statewide. They only made it legal statewide. First was Colorado. Second was shortly after was Washington State. And those are the only two right now that it's actually legal in the state. But we knew that Denver had passed a city law way back in the day where they said weed was legal. They said they were not going to arrest you, don't smoke it in public. The cops, like, they openly stated they weren't going to do this. We used to talk about that on stage back when we were doing the Comedy Works in the early 2000s.
Yeah, it's very strange. It's a really strange phenomenon. I
Those-
think and if you look at it not just from the economic perspective of why people economically might want to ban it, but also from the consciousness level, because of the state that induces is one of deep introspection. And if you consider capitalism and the effects of it, like what you just said, and you really explore, like, shit, do I want to subscribe to the system that has actually thrown people in jail for growing a thing that used to be like one of the number one substances used? That's the kind of thoughts that come to your mind when you're high, along with a lot of other stuff like, man, I think I'm a fucking asshole. Did I really just say that to whoever I said that to? Like, I think I'm a fucking asshole. And the more you start like thinking about stuff like that produces the paranoid trip everyone's so afraid of. But if you take that deeper, then what you realize is happening is the plant is healing your consciousness, and it's identifying aspects of yourself that need to be worked on. That's what the effect is. And also, if you get super stoned and just get into a messy room, you'll start organizing the fucking room generally. You'll start cleaning and scrubbing because you're externalizing what it's doing to you on the inside, which is organizing all these disparate aspects of your personality and forcing you to at least acknowledge it, if not work on it. And does that kind of balancing agent work with a society based on denial and a society based on ignoring the fact that the whole thing functions by evaporating human beings and stealing their land? Do you really want a drug that produces that level of understanding in the bloodstream of the population?
Well, you do. Just you don't if you're the one at the helm of the fucking meat machine. If you're the one who's pushing the blades across the land and slashing everything in front of it, then you don't. But if you're everybody else, of course you do. Of course you do.
Right.
We're all better off high.
It's never.
Yeah.
I've never really known what it is to sit on a couch. You know, I don't play games.
No.
I don't play
Video
games. I don't even know.
Play a little pool. Joey Diaz can play some pool.
I grew up in a fucking bar.
Joey
My
Diaz
mom
can
had a
shoot
bar.
straight.
No
But
way.
Joey Diaz shoots
here's
straight.
the weirdest thing of them all, that weed always kicked my ass. Like, it always fucking beat the fuck out of me. Like, when I smoked it in the morning, like 8 in the morning, it would pattern my day for me. Like, first off, you're not going to sit here.
Right.
You got to get the fuck out of the house.
Right.
Okay? So it made me go out and get I always loved listening to music. So I used to get those anytime. Since 1980, I've always had something around my ears. Whether it was the big disc, I never had the big ghetto blaster, but I had the disc.
I had the disc.
And then it got shorter to the cassette.
Yeah.
And then it became an iPod. I don't even know the evolution. I even had the power booster that I bought on 40. You know, in New York, the electronic.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you could buy anything. I used to buy, Sony used to make an amp that you plugged into the Walkman and you plugged your speakers into the fucking amp.
Wow.
That's how much of a savage I was. I wanted it loud. Because when you're going to New York City, there wasn't those earbuds then. It was speakers, you know?
Yeah.
But I wanted it loud. And I'll
People
tell
used
you,
to go around with ghetto blasters. Remember that?
Oh,
in
yeah.
their fucking ears at the whole neighborhood.
They would
That
have
drove me
their
crazy.
own music. A
Yeah.
hip hop, a hip to the hip. They would like walk down the street, like holding on a giant radio.
Boom boxes.
Like what? That has got to be one of the
The
weirdest
crazy-
creations. A huge, loud stereo that you carry with you, and dudes would bring them everywhere. Do you remember that?
But let me explain something to you. Think of the dudes who did it. It was the same dudes today who have a pit bull.
You're right.
The people who had that were people who fucking look kind of scary. Like what? They walk in
Yeah.
with the "Don't look me, cause I'm closed." They'll walk into the fucking house with it blasted.
Well, in
to do
some
that.
ways, it makes life a little bit simpler because you're walking around with a soundtrack. You know, I had one. I had a small one. I remember this. Yeah, that's what they used to carry.
Yes.
That's insane. Look at that thing, man. That looks like something we would plug into to make this show.
Yeah.
That looks like the podcast equipment. He's got like sliding scales on that thing. Look at that.
You're turning on Huey Lewis in the news, full blast.
It's up to B square.
I don't think that guy listened to Huey Lewis in the news.
No, he's probably listening
And if you
to some
had one of these, nobody ever took it from you.
Cool G rap
Like
and
you never heard
DJ
of nobody
Polo.
getting mugged of their fucking stereo. Like, dog, there's a help. Please help us find it.
I'm
Somebody
sure
had knocked
someone
them
must
out.
have, Joey.
This was-
People steal everything.
Did you see this? This is me
Yeah,
in
this
high school,
is-
Duncan Trussell.
Yeah, I saw that.
Did you see that? Unfucking believable.
Joey's on the far right. That's insane.
Look at my
You were so
shoulders.
cute.
Check out the sexy
Lucky
legs.
7.
Yep.
Can you get it so just his whole body fills the
No,
screen?
I was 44. I was 44. There was no Lucky 7.
Yeah, like that. Look at that. Wow. That's so crazy. Wow. Look at you, dude. So how old are you in this picture?
14.
14. God damn, Joey, you cute. You're cute as a button.
And look at David Ruiz.
Turn around and talk into the microphone so
That's,
other people can hear this
all
too.
right. That kid right
Look,
there.
Joey,
with
it's
the
up on
afro,
this screen too.
That kid with the afro was a very interesting story.
This guy right here?
Because we were a horrible basketball team at McKinley.
Can you go full screen, Brian?
And he
So-
moved in
It covers
to our
all-
neighborhood.
Does it do
and
that?
He could jump. He was 5'8", but this kid could fucking jump like Julius Erving. So he was Dominican. His name was Louis Hernandez. I'm from Jersey. They just planned it. They just cut it short and called him Louis the Nigger. They said, fuck it. We don't care if he's Dominican. We're not going to even think about that. We're just going to. This is David Ruiz. He's
They
still
talk.
around-
They called him that to his face too.
like Louis the Nigger. And when we were in the
And did he get pissed?
fuck you, bitch. Yeah, he was a tough kid.
Did he get mad at you when you called him?
Sometimes, like I think he bitch slapped 2 or 3 people. But the best thing he did was, we used to do acid when we first started smoking weed in the 8th grade. We go behind the soccer field in North Bergen, and he let us blow smoke into his afro and see the smoke come out of the afro. How cool was he?
I remember that. I remember
I told
you telling
you
me that.
this was the crew, so I knew all these motherfuckers. Scroll down to the. All right, this kid here's up. That kid there was David Black. We graduated together, and I knew him after the fact. And one night he came into Joe and Mary. He's like, "Look, you got a car. You got to give me a ride. If you give me a ride, I'll give you a rock." All right, we gave him a ride. He gets out of the car in West New York. About 3 minutes later, he comes running back, bleeding, with his hair pulled. I go, "What happened?" He goes, "I went and robbed my sister." I mean, he was serious. He had Coke rocks for everybody. A chunk of his fucking hair. She caught him on the way out as he was pulling out of the window, and she just took. He was bleeding
His
and everything.
sister. He robbed his
His
sister through the
fuck-
window.
Oh my God, hysterical.
Oh my
this
God,
is when cocaine was
savages.
king. This is 83, dog, at 3 a.m. You asked me for a ride. I gotta do what I gotta do, you know?
Think of how crazy that statement
This
is.
is fucking crazy.
Joey, I wish you could do your own Stand By Me. Like, Mayor.
My God.
So great.
My fucking God. This is
Joey,
when,
who is this? Why is his head so small?
when I got this picture, I nearly which one? The Filipino kid?
No, this guy on the left.
That kid's like a multi-gazillionaire now. His family owns a tow truck company in northern New Jersey, New York City. If so you get towed, his family is the one that owns it. I swear to God.
I believe you.
This is fucking crazy shit here.
I believe you.
It's fucking crazy, man.
So
Somebody sent me
1978.
this. Somebody sent me this yesterday while I was eating dinner. Wow. And I almost had a fucking heart attack. A friend
That's
of mine goes, look what I
incredible.
found looking through yearbooks. And that's when I was an innocent. No, I was smoking dope then. I was no innocent then. I was smoking dope. I was finger banging people.
I like you still be
Played
innocent.
hoops.
You can still be innocent and
It
finger
was
bang.
just me and my mom at the house. Yeah, I was okay. I wasn't crazy then.
I smoked my first reefer when I was 15. I ganked it from my dad, and I had no idea how strong it was. And we rolled a joint, and me and my friend Josh and this girl that I was dating, we smoked this shit, and we smoked way too much for 15-year-olds or whatever we were. And we wound up waking up in various parts of the house, like blink. It's never happened to me before, but like blink, all of a sudden I'd be on the couch. Blink, all of a sudden I'd be in front of the refrigerator. Like blink, all the time in between the blinks, missing.
Wow.
Just arriving places. Like waking up in a bedroom.
No short-term memory.
Not just no short-term memory. It's like my tape gets cut. Like the events between those two did not exist. I get so high I had zero memory. So what I would think it was I got so high that I would say, you know what, I need to just get into the kitchen and maybe get something to eat and maybe it'll calm this down. So my brain spools up that it's got to figure out to remember to get to the kitchen to eat because I'm that high. And then in between during the walking, I forget everything.
Wow.
So then boom, all of a sudden I wake up and I'm in front of the refrigerator going, what the fuck? And she was doing it too, my girlfriend at the time. And my friend was doing it. My friend Josh was doing it too. We were all fucking... It scared me off of weed for a long time. I didn't smoke weed again for several years after that.
The first time you get high, you really don't get that zonked. It's the second or third time, and then you're outside, you really start to understand it. You end up at a bowling alley buying a chocolate milk. You're sitting there. That's why I went and ate. We had French fries and chocolate milk.
Have you ever had that happen where you felt like you woke up in places?
I remember the first 2 or 3 years, I just smoked, like, Duncan, what are you doing Friday night? Nothing. My mom's leaving. Perfect. I'm going to call Joe. We're going to come over with some weed. I don't know, bro. My brother found out last time. He's going to rat me out. All right, fuck it. We'll smoke in your yard, and we'll go and listen to Pink Floyd. The Wall. I mean, that's not even the Wall wasn't even out yet. We listened to the Beatles, Sgt. Pepper. Like, that's it. Like, we get together and roll a joint. In those days, I used to have a glass. You went to East West, this head shop, and there was a tube. And it was like a flute with this open, but it had a hole, and you put the joint in there, and you put your finger at the end. Joe, light it, and you'd light the joint, and I'd suck it in, and I'd hold it back, and then it was like, that's it. That was your carburetor. When you smoked one of those, you got zonked. That was it. And then we'd sit around, and we'd all have money, like, what do you want to do? How much you got? $1.25. What do you got? $3. I got $4. Let's go to Nick's. And you walk to the pizza place, remember? And you just talk stupidity. And you look at each other. Do I look high? No. You think Nick will say I'm high? No. No, I'm high. Come on, do I look high? No. But Visine, it was tremendous. Then you had to get in the house and walk past your mother.
Yes.
And that was the night your mother decided to make cookies. So now you had to look and talk to her. Whatever. That's why you smoke pot, dog. Because it brought something different to your life at 13. It made you feel fucking alive. How cool was it? Like, I always want to do, right now, forget about anything. I would love to get 60 people and chairs and couches and just fucking come out on stage and give everybody a joint and the table in the middle with joints and just do time till all those joints are gone.
Well, there's a couple places you can do that in Toronto.
That's it.
They're going to start having those in Denver, guaranteed.
Any day.
The only problem is it's against health code to be able to be smoking in a public place.
We just want to crack jokes, dog, and bring it back to when you were 14 and you all sat around and listened to Is It Something I Said?
Yeah.
Or that one album with the white up. We had great albums when I was growing up. Bicentennial Nigger.
Mm-hmm.
All those albums were brilliant. And you'd sit around with 6 of your buddies and you listen to George Carlin or Red Fox. Come on,
Yeah.
you
I used
can't
to sit
replace.
around-
That's what taught us. That's what hooked us. That was it. Just that feeling of listen to this. What this motherfucker's saying. Listen to his language. We don't know anybody who talks like that.
Yeah.
Even George Carlin, he was so fucking hip. I remember still listening to Lenny Bruce and like being like 8 and like turning it off, like fucking hiding and going, that's...
What was the first stand-up you got exposed to?
Richard Pryor, the nigga's crazy. Wino meets Dracula pushed me over the fucking top, drooling, crying. Like, Mommy, I gotta tell you this joke. And then putting it on and going back and telling it, you gotta omit the curses. You gotta omit the curses.
Wow.
And then you learned, at all that age, I wasn't into fucking the black dude that everybody's supposed to like.
Bill Cosby?
No, I was a George Carlin, Richard Pryor.
Oh man,
Yeah.
for me,
Later it was Bill Cosby.
Cosby for me was the first.
That was my first.
My
Really?
parents had an album, and it was Noah having a conversation with God. You ever hear that? Noah in the Ark. Noah having a conversation with God.
Yeah, I vaguely remember it.
It's fucking great, man. I mean, it's great. He's a totally different style than any of us.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's right in when he gets mad at people for using certain language, and there's Wanda Sykes interviewed him once, and he criticized her language, like how she phrased the question to him. I'm like, oh, come on, man. But as a comedian, like, the dude's top notch.
He's
all
extremely
time.
conservative. Yeah. He's a very conservative.
He's very
person.
conservative.
Yeah.
Well, you know what he is? He's a super successful man that had to be incredibly driven to get to where he was, and he's not tolerating any mediocrity or what he perceives to be mediocrity in any form, whether it's language or behavior or the use of swear words or
Fun guy.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
My first experience with stand-up was, I can't remember, I was very young. My parents had a record player. I put Bill Cosby on and would play it. And when you're a kid, you don't have an immune system for comedy because you've never heard it before. So the first time you hear it, it knocks you on your ass because it's so funny. You can't stop laughing.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have the defense mechanisms. It's a brand new thing. You're hearing a whole new rhythm, a whole new way of storytelling that is always the funniest thing you've ever heard. I can remember laying there and not being able to breathe, just like clutching my stomach because it was so funny. And it was like his joke that I remember from this album was the one about getting drunk. It was just this whole story about throwing up and getting drunk and getting angry.
Yeah. Well, he had that great bit about the son at the football game, that the dad works out with the son, does all this thing with the son, and then finally, the cameras turn on him, and he's like, "Hi, Mom."
Yeah.
I had one
Talking about
the
Mencia,
one that I
right?
got hooked on was
That's the one
Buck
Mencia
Buck.
ganked.
Yeah.
He got. That's the one that really fucked Mencia up. That one really fucked him up.
Which one was
it?
it?
The Cosby one, because that's sacred ground. I mean, as far as stand-up comedians, in my opinion, there's 5-6 sacred comedians, and Cosby's one of the sacred ones.
Sure, yeah.
No doubt about it. He's a all-time genius. You can't talk shit about him.
But what an odd decision to steal a Bill Cosby joke.
He fucked up. We've said a lot of things about that guy over the years, Mencia. I honestly hope he's got his shit together. I wish him well. We don't have to play that dude.
The Buck joke with the blue thing is what really flipped comedy for me. He does a bit about playing Buck. He sits on a stool.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't move. And anybody who ever played Buck knows it's a moving game.
Right.
He sold me in my mind, and that's when I learned the other phase of comedy. By that time, I was maybe 16 or 17. But guess who I was into at that point?
Who?
David Letterman.
Letterman.
When Letterman first came on...
That's so weird.
When Letterman... Fucking tell me about it. When Letterman first hit TV, I was a senior in high school. And the first time I watched Letterman, I was gone.
Really?
Like that style of...
Being cool
was
guy.
there,
Yeah.
Something. And then I watched him from 18 to like 23, whenever I was home at 11, when I wasn't coked up or in jail, or whatever stupidity I was doing and not in jail. And then I didn't watch him again. But I knew that style when he would come up and do his monologue in the beginning. I dug him. Like, I fucking just was sold. And I found out he was at the Comedy Store, and Pryor was at the Comedy Store, and I started putting all the pieces together. Wow. And already I had heard the guy from Mork and Mindy was a joke thief. Like, he's a fucking joke thief.
Yeah, we heard about that.
You follow me, right? So I heard that already. And then, again, way before I was going to be a fucking comic, not even thought, I went to catch that dude. And we've said this already on here. Went to see the dude from Boston that's very witty, Stephen
Stephen Wright?
Right.
Yeah.
He went. My friend won tickets to the radio in Boulder at the big thing on South Boulder. We went. And he was brilliant. His material was brilliant. I was blown away. Wow, he didn't fucking curse really towards the end. That's a different style.
Yeah.
You know, and all of a sudden, I went to see him a year later and he did the same material. And I said to myself, if I was ever a comic, I wouldn't do the same fucking material.
I think he has a real problem with that act. It's such a narrow window that he can write material in. You know, the things he could write about. Everything has to be absurd. Everything has to be like a little flip on things, you know.
I love comics like that, like him and Mitch, like Hedberg.
Me too.
They're amazing, but I think it must feel a little claustrophobic to get stuck in that form. Like Stephen Wright, I guess he can't just come out
and start
and
doing
tell
bits
a
about
long
things.
story because people will be like, "What the fuck, man?"
What if he did it with like a lot of energy?
Yeah.
And I was like, "Lady, what the fuck you talking?" And everybody's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, where's that mellow guy?"
Yeah. So I think that sucks kind of to get stuck or to get pigeonholed in that one form.
I once worked at a fire hydrant factory. Couldn't park anywhere near the place.
Yes.
That's a classic Stephen Wright. That's that style. In a lot of ways, very Hedbergian. Hedberg style is kind of like that too, like real odd.
It's fucking so good.
Yeah.
I love all that shit.
My favorite Hedberg one is one of my favorites. He goes, somebody asked me if I wanted a frozen banana. I said, no, but I want a regular banana later. So yes. You're like, what? Can you imagine if somebody wrote that down for you if you're hiring a guy to write jokes? Listen, fella, I'm going to give you $200 an hour. Write me some snippy material. I really need to kill him at the club tonight. And he reads that. Guy asked me if I want a frozen banana. What the fuck am I supposed to do with this? Guy asked me if I want a frozen banana. I say no, but I want a regular banana later. So yes? What the fuck am I paying you to write? Jesus Christ, you piece of shit. But meanwhile, it's brilliant. It comes out of Hedberg. The one about Doubletree. How did they name that? What do you want to call the place? 2 trees? Doubletree. Meeting adjourned. His stuff never connected. Like what we do is like we'll have a subject, and it's so much easier the way we do comedy because you have a subject, and like your subject, like the Liberace bit that you're doing now. He'll start on that Liberace movie, and he can talk about that fucking movie for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
It's a whole series of hilarious things that exist inside of this one subject. But if you're a Mitch Hedberg guy, it's like you're talking about one thing, and then you're talking about Oreo cookies, and then you're talking about, heroin, whatever.
Yeah. And all the bullets you've got to have in your gun, man. You've got to have so many jokes for an hour set if each of your jokes is 8 seconds.
Yeah. And they're all non-connected.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, Hedberg would just pump it out, man.
Yeah.
He pumped out a lot of shit. He constantly was writing. That guy was like one of the most prolific guys. Like you always heard about him writing a lot of material.
Yeah, I heard somebody say they would write with him. And they would go meet him to write. And they would have like one shitty, half thought out joke written down. And he would have like 20 just hilarious jokes. He's one of those comics that it just pours out of him.
Is that you breathing in the mic? Jesus Christ.
I don't know what it is. What's with the fucking questions? You see I'm over here to the guilt.
I'm listening to my ears. I'm hearing Darth Vader in the background.
I'm just to the deal.
He had that style down. He figured out his perfect style. And that's a great example why you can never really teach comedy. I thought about remember we talked about doing this at the store, like doing something in the belly room. Well, I was going to call it like a comics workshop. And the idea was like, you really can't, like anyone who's like a real legitimate comic could go and do it for free. You can't pay for that. You can't charge people for comedy classes.
No.
It just seems too fucking weird. It just seems too strange. It's like, that's the entire opposite of the feeling of camaraderie that we're supposed to be giving each other. We're not supposed to be taking money from each other like that.
Right.
We don't feed off of each other. What we should be doing is promoting the art of stand-up. If somebody wants to take a course and they're not a comedian and they just want to find out what it's like and sit in, then I could see maybe charging them. But someone who is actually a comedian, trying to be a comedian, there's that. So the idea of teaching a class kind of goes against the whole way of, the whole way of camaraderie that we all enjoy. But it's also that you can't teach people how to do comedy. You can only give them advice as to maybe how you would do it, or maybe if they shorten things up or had less words.
Well, it's a little bit like what you're. It's funny. I'm sorry to cut you off.
No,
it's funny
please do.
because
I'm rambling.
what you're saying reminds me a lot of what people say about like Buddhism or spirituality. Is that they say you can't read this. This isn't something like you can read all you want, but it's not going to teach you. It's the practice of the thing itself that teaches you. So, like when I went down to hang out to this Ram Dass retreat, and there was this Zen Roshi there, this woman who's been practicing Zen for like, I don't know, her whole life basically, and she said that the teacher does not give the student enlightenment, but sets the conditions, creates a good condition for realization. So in the same way, I think you could have a comedy class, but the comedy class isn't something where you tell someone, here's how you hold the mic, and here's the way you write a joke, and here's how you get booked at clubs. It's more like, here's an environment that is conducive to coming up with ideas and jokes, some kind of free-form, chaotic place where people would just get together and I guess, get to be around people like you or like, Cosby or big comics, because somehow just being around a very funny person for a little bit of time can teach you so much. But the actual mechanics of the thing, the technical aspects of it, that's, I think, where comedy classes are.
I'm going to tell you something, and I'm going to tell you this sincerely from my heart, that as you were saying it, and Joe's going to agree with me because we're both on the same page. I would have loved if somebody would have taken my hand in the beginning and walk me through a lot of things. And there's a lot of things that I could take a new comic, that we, all three of us, all four of us, everybody in the room, could take a new comic and walk them around for a couple of weeks with them, 3-4 weeks, and explain this. After that, it's like anything else, man.
You got to figure it out on your own.
Because that's part of the journey.
Yep.
That's part of your happiness. That's what's gonna make you happy later.
Well, not only that, you two guys are a perfect example of it. You two are two of my best friends, and you're also two of my favorite comedians.
Thank you.
And you're both completely fucking different. And I love watching both of you perform equally. You're both totally different, totally different styles, but yet both awesome. You know why? Because you're really you, and you're really you.
Right.
I mean, it's that simple. You're not playing. We all know the poor people that are stuck putting together like an act, and they're kind of pretending to be someone they're not.
Yes.
And we know those folks, and it's a terrible rut to be in.
Yeah.
Artistically, as a person, whatever. You guys aren't in that spot, so because of that, you're allowed to figure out. And I don't know if that's ever going to be. You almost have to struggle uniquely and individually to get to become a Duncan Trussell. It's almost like if you get advice, like they're never going to figure out that this is possible, that you could be you. Like if you met with someone when you were 20 years old and you're like, Duncan, what would you like to do someday? I would like to smoke pot, play video games. I'd like to write about my penis.
Yeah.
I would like to go on stage and make people laugh, and that's really it. They'd be like, well, okay.
Kill yourself.
That's cute. But
Yeah.
let's think realistically, Duncan.
Right.
What about your real future? Instead of saying, oh, so many people have done that before. No one is ever going to be able to figure out how to make a Duncan Trussell except Duncan Trussell.
Well, I think comedians, there are tendencies in comedians. There are similarities in comedians, right? Wouldn't you say there's things in comics, not material wise, but there are aspects of comedians that are all seem to be the same. One is they tend to be very anti-authoritarian. So, like when you tell them what to do, when you tell them this is what you have to do, they inevitably want to reject that, overcome it, disrupt it, make fun of it, and I think that tendency starts when you're really young. And if that tendency is in you, you're going to have a hard fucking time anyway getting a regular job, because it's such an affront. Like I can remember listening in college, there was a career class we had to go to, and I can remember sitting there and listening to the guy talk about having to wear suits and talking about the way you talk to your boss and talking about the way to be polite in the workplace. And I don't know. I said some.
You know what happens when you listen to that guy? You wind up at a restaurant with your date, and some asshole actor starts telling your date that she's an old soul, and you just take it.
Yes.
Without bitch slapping that dude.
Yes, exactly. That's because
They turn you.
You're right. The essence of the thing is just lay on your belly and submit to the master. Just the very same thing that, like, when you see a mother dog, like our dog had puppies, and I remember watching the mother dog play with the puppies, and part of the thing it seemed like she was teaching them was to, like, show their belly, to, like, turn over on their belly. That's the essence of the fucking thing. It's like obedience, subservience, submission.
Well, it's the only way you're ever going to get by in life with a regular job. The only way to get by in life, if you want to move your way up the corporate ladder, you have to follow the rules. You can't tell dirty jokes at work. You can't try to get laid. You can't try to play pranks on people. There's no room for creativity. You're there from 9 to 5. You punch in, you punch out.
I think that's not all places, though, man. I just saw...
Oh, no, it's certainly not.
Like Google, I saw pictures of, like, somebody working in Google, and they were laying in a box of colored balls on their laptop.
That's amazing.
I don't think it's all places. It's an old school model. It's an old school model, which is that it's based on feudalism. It's based on the king. Show obedience to the king. Show obedience to your boss or your teacher.
Yeah, Google's the perfect example of how to do a corporation.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we joke around about them being Skynet, but the reality of Google is they've managed in a short period of time to keep a lot of fucking employees happy.
Yes.
They have a huge business. They own everything. They've got maps. They've got fucking music. They've got their own operating system for phones. They've developed their own browser. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. Has anybody ever kicked ass on the internet the way Google has? And yet, they're really cool to their employees. If you go there, their employees get fucking foosball tables and shit and really good food, and they can, you know, they have a real comfortable working environment. I have a friend who works there. There's a dude that works there who's decided at work he wants to be a girl. So he's a guy, he's married, he's got kids, but at work, he puts on women's clothes, and they changed his title at work to what his girl name is.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Wow. And they're like, okay. They're so open-minded. They're not like, Bob, is there something going on, man? Yeah. Like, you know, all of a sudden you're wearing a dress. Instead of any of that, there's none of that. They're like, okay, well, Helen, pleasure to meet you, Helen. Have I met you before? Yeah. I have met you before, but I met you as Bob. Okay. So now, well, pleasure to meet you as Helen. So let's take it from here on. We're Helen. Except dinner parties, when they go out at night and he brings his wife, then he dresses like a man.
Yeah.
Like if he has functions or anything, then he's a man and he's married and he has a wife. And they're so open-minded, they're like, okay, as long as he does his job right. Not putting you on at all.
Wait, this is your friend or this is a
No. My friend is my friend.
That's your friend. I'm like,
my friend
did you
works
through Buck?
in the same environment as this person.
Okay,
well,
it's amazing. That's all cool. That's all cool till you slip and fall in the bathroom, try to sue Google, and they're like, sue? Then you wear a dress and fucking work. You want to sue me? You want to wear a dress, cocksucker? You better get your shit together. Pack your pencil.
That's what happens when your heels don't fit.
You imagine what the fuck? You wear a fucking dress to work. Somebody's gonna say something eventually. I mean,
well, the shoes alone would be reason to not be a woman. If I was a woman, I would. Even if I was like a really sexy, like heterosexual woman, I think I would dress like a man. I think this is like the most comfortable way to move around.
Yeah.
You know? Converse All-Stars, pair of jeans, nice comfortable shirts.
Yeah.
Why are you wearing those shoes? Well, those crazy shoes you wear and you can't walk in.
Yeah, one thing that is probably certain, but I guess I'll find out in a second, is that those fucking shoes were not invented by a woman, right? Like whoever invented high heels no person was like, you know what? I'm gonna put myself in uncomfortable stilts that warp my feet. I'm gonna put myself in the most uncomfortable shoe wear.
I can't drink.
Yeah, it probably is a chick.
Probably wasn't. A lot of people like foot bindings. There's a whole history of like.
I meant to say isn't a chick.
Yeah.
I meant to say, well, Jimmy Choo is a woman. Did you know that?
Who?
Jimmy Choo. That's like a big one with the gals. They love the Jimmy Choo shoes. Jimmy Choo is actually a woman. A woman created that.
Yeah, but if you look at the history of them,
all right, let's find out.
This is
do you think there'd be a patent on that?
This is why I hate Google. You, as a stoner, any of your stupid ideas can instantly be shot down.
My friend ate it wearing high heels the other day. Just tore her knee wide open because of those stupid high heel shoes.
Yeah, they're fucking dangerous, man. Yeah. It's like, especially when you're walking around on the street and there's cracks in the sidewalk and weird shit and divots. Yeah. You can't walk in those things, bitch. You can't work in those things. Okay, where does it say invention?
Say history of
Here we
high
go.
heels.
History.
You've haunted me with those feet shoes, Joe.
Those footy toes
footy shit.
things,
I see
toe
them like
shoes?
every day now.
They're great. If you wore them, you would wear. Well, you're so funny to talk shit because you're wearing slippers right now. You're wearing slippers like you just stepped out of some Russian bathhouse when they give you one of those massages where they beat you with the sticks like Fedor used to do. The banya, and they fucking slap you with that thing.
These shoes are comfy.
I bet they are comfy, but that's what it looks like. Like you're shuffling out in the middle of the winter in some Soviet Union gear, headed to the banya
Yeah.
to get slapped.
Or like
men massaged naked.
Or an Alzheimer's patient who's slipped out the back door is lost in a city.
Yeah. All right. The first instance of the wear of high heels involved 1533 marriage between Catherine de' Medici and the Duke of Orleans. She wore heels made in Florence for her wedding, and as a result, Italian high heels became the norm for the ladies in the Duke's court in France. Unfortunately, this reference may be apocryphal, as the development of heels did not begin to come about until the late 1580s, based on an iconographic evidence, and so it was somewhere around the 1580s.
A lot of
between
people
1530
say,
and 1580.
I heard it's because everything used to be covered in shit, and a lady didn't want to get her feet in shit puddles, and so you would try to use the high heels to like push the feet out of the shit.
Doesn't make sense because the toes down, the toes still getting caked in shit.
Better the toes than the entire foot.
Really?
If I have to choose between how much of anything I want covered in shit, I'm going to pick the
can't be
smallest.
I'll go
part.
with my heels. I'd rather have shit on my heel than in
Yeah.
between my cute little toes.
Piggies. Why would you want to get your piggies all dirty?
Yeah, my piggies wallowing around in shit.
So what would that look like? Reverse high heels? That'd be a really weird.
Yeah.
I
way
can
to
see if you
walk.
have like some Gene Simmons style kiss boots, you know. Go, Dr. Love. They call me Dr. Love. With teeth walking through the shit. Yeah, that was the cause of a lot of disease back in the day. Was the poor
Shit.
sewer systems and the rotting bodies and all sorts of other things they had
Yeah.
to deal with when people died.
Just a river of shit, man.
Yeah, and people would also like especially during times of war, like their rivers would get clogged up with bodies, you know, and the bodies would rot. And then if you drank river water with rotting bodies in it, you'd get sick as fuck and possibly die.
This is why when people say, "Oh, look, these shootings are happening today," it's like you used to watch dead, blown up bodies roll by your home. You used to, when you walked outside, you would walk up to your ankles in plague diarrhea. Yeah, it sucks that people are getting shot right now, but it's nothing like what it used to be.
It's definitely nothing like what it used to be, but the numbers are so high that it seems like it's never ending. It's a torrent because we're really not supposed to be paying attention to 7 billion people at the same time.
That's what I think. Yeah.
Or are we? Or is this going to be how we fix it? Is this going to be where people don't get ignored anymore? Where you really have to take and pay attention to the assets of every single human being? Like assets meaning, you know, you as a person, an asset to civilization.
Yeah.
That all of them have to be accounted for. And if they're not, if they feel disenfranchised, that's when you're going to have problems. When they feel left out and they feel avoided, you're going to have fucking problems. And people don't get the love that they need
Yes.
from the jump. On top of all the real serious mental illnesses that can plague people that just happen. Well, I knew a dude who went crazy. You remember the dude, the Todd? Do you remember the Todd? You don't remember the Todd?
Yes, I actually met him once.
The Todd is responsible for me getting into the store.
Wow.
Because when I was doing...
Yes.
Remember him?
Yes.
Friends with Paulie? Great guy, man. He was a comic, and he was on MTV back in the day, and he had been in. And I went up, and I did a spot, and Mitzi... She gave me non-paid regular status. This means I could go on after the show was over. So I would go there every night, wait till like 1 o'clock in the morning and get on. And, you know, it was all right. It was better than nothing. You know, I was happy to have that. But then I got a second chance to audition for her a couple months after that. And the Todd sat next to her on purpose and just laughed and laughed. And he kept like slapping the table and saying that I was funny. Because like sometimes Mitzi needs to hear from other people too.
Yes.
She's like, he's brilliant. Meanwhile, it's like half the same material I did 3 months before.
Yeah.
But I was better then, I'm sure. I'd gotten more comfortable with being at the store, and I'm
But
sure I
man,
was nervous the first
Also,
time.
I think she also had her ear to the ground.
Yeah.
And if you were coming in there every night, she knew it.
Yeah.
Like, she knew it. And she knew that was, like, part of a sign that somebody had potential. I think it was more than just that instantaneous watching thing. I think it's a combination of like
sort of, but the Todd actually set me hip that's been used before, and he told me that that's the way I should get my friends in too.
Yeah.
So that's what I started doing. Like when McGuire did it, I sat right next to Mitzi and laughed hard at McGuire. You know, anybody who ever like was performing for her, I would make sure I sat right next to her and laughed.
Man, was that not the weirdest fucking thing, sitting next to Mitzi and then watching the comics come up and like literally bow to her? Like comics would come up, old school cult leader guru style, bow down, touch her, like try to touch her, and she would do the Mitzi Wavoid. You remember that?
Yeah, the Mitzi
that
Wavoid.
back. This thing.
Get him out of here.
Okay, honey, I'm watching a show.
Are you talking about Todd Rundgren?
No.
Who's that?
He's a musician.
Why are we talking about him? What are you talking about?
No,
Yeah.
he was from MTV back in the
I'm
day.
going to tell you what.
Oh,
I'm
no.
gonna tell-
No.
You want me to say about Todd Rundgren? He was married to the chick.
It was
That
the
was
Todd.
what's
The
what-
Todd.
The Todd.
What's Tyler's? What's the
Steven
Tyler?
Tyler?
His daughter.
Oh, Liv Tyler?
Liv Tyler. His mother was living with that dude,
Okay.
and the mother took her to see Aerosmith. And Liv Tyler turned around and told the mother, "That's my father." For years, they had raised her thinking it was Todd Rundgren,
Whoa.
but it was really Steven Tyler. But she wanted her to figure it out. True story, bro. Todd Rundgren's a bad motherfucker. He's got some badass jams. You know, you've heard his jams.
What is his songs?
I don't know.
We could play some.
Yeah. Just look up the names of what's Todd Rundgren.
Fuck you
did.
can. The fuck you can, dude. If they can prove that you're making money off of it, you absolutely can't.
One thing.
I think there's something called fair use.
How does it work?
I think that if you
Listen to Duncan. He ain't got no legal experience.
Yes, he
This
does.
is-
He went
this is
on
some
LegalZoom.com and
bullshit.
shit. He went on Legal-
yeah, don't listen to me.
This is some
But
stoner bullshit
don't
coming.
listen.
I smell it.
fair use.
I
No,
smell hay,
I just
farts.
heard. I heard that if you're making a commentary over a thing, there's some kind of like area where it is okay to like reprint stuff, but it's not in.
Really?
And I think you can do like there's seconds, like
What
you
are
can
his
do like
songs?
10 seconds or something. It's all
Oh,
worked
that's
out.
interesting. That's interesting. I wish we could release the Ice House Chronicles with. We were talking about what I feel is the greatest guitar solo in the history of music, Freebird. I don't think anything can fuck with Freebird. And we were playing Freebird, and we were just getting into the song about how crazy it was. There's these dirty, stinky, long-haired dudes from Florida who were making this insane music, and all their songs were about getting away from girls.
Right.
All their songs, like a huge percentage of the songs, like I gotta be free. They call me the breeze. I'm out the door, bitch. You take care.
They call me the breeze.
All their fucking songs are about getting away. Give me 2 steps. I mean, everything is like, I gotta get the fuck out of this town. This shit got crazy. What's your name? I'll be back next year. You know?
It's so funny that we're writing songs about this ancient evolutionary thing encoded in our genetics, which is that you want to put as much DNA into as many people as you can.
Yeah.
But now, like, people are actually, like, probably monkeys would sing the same song if they could. Any kind of primate would, like, is kind of stuck in that awful predicament of, like, having a genetic predisposition to spray jizz into as many holes as possible. It's just in there. And then also the need to like start a family and love someone and be monogamous. That's one of like the great internal wars that is raging around the world right now, is people trying to figure out how to deal with those.
How to reconcile those
Yeah,
two.
how do you reconcile that shit?
Yeah, well, that's also, I think, there's a certain amount of conflict that sort of ensures movement. It ensures a lot of activity. And when you have 2 systems that are dueling it out, one trying to dominate the other, one trying to find a way through, whether it's through certain new words they introduce into the lexicon, whether it's, or the language, whether it's the way they, how they interact with each other. But what they're trying to do is everyone's trying to get a little bit ahead. Men are trying to get a little bit ahead of women. Women are trying to get a little bit ahead of men. Women who feel suppressed will try to suppress others. Men who feel suppressed will try to do the same. And there's this crazy battle going on. And I think it's almost like designed that way.
Well, it's a culture of dishonesty. Don't forget, you're not allowed to say these things.
But it's also the culture that produces the most stuff creatively. It's very strange.
Yeah, I think that's a very positive spin on it, man. But imagine like,
But I should say right now, that's not to discount any of the Europeans, Japanese, Asians, whatever, all the people all over the world that do creative shit.
Right.
But there's a certain, there's no no denying the fact that United States is responsible for an insane amount of influential pop culture. From the 1950s to the present, insane amounts. Of course, the Europeans, of course, the Beatles and the Stones, and of course, the Who, of course. There's no denying that there was a million of them from the UK as well. But when you count in stand-up comedy, when you count in music, all different kinds of music, there's a lot of weird shit that came out of the United States.
But do you think you're saying that that's coming from
it's almost
sexual
like
repression?
There might be something to that. The need to conquer the crazy genetics that led to these people being willing to get in ships and go halfway across the fucking world in a boat with fucking barrels of food that might be enough for everybody to eat, and you might not get scurvy. And you don't even have a fucking video that you can watch of what this place where you're going to try to live in looks like, and you're going over there with your kids.
Yeah.
Those are savages. Those people were fucking crazy. So you have that. You have the legacy of these people, and that's a part of it. Like this desire to just move forward. They're willing to take the most risks in order to get to America in the first place.
I think the people coming, you're right. The people who came over here to, I guess, support your argument. Many of the people who came over here were some of the most sexually repressed people on earth because they were hardcore Christians. This is like the Scarlet Letter. This is like the body was something to be reviled. But I don't know if it's the repression that is made that brings inspiration. That's never. I've never been in a. You know what? Maybe it is though, because I can think of like times where you're like super horny or like lonely, and that does produce.
Think about music, man.
Yeah.
Where's music coming from? Where's the greatest music coming from? It's coming from fucking pain, man.
Yeah.
Coming from fucking pain.
Yeah,
The blues, baby.
Oh
Yeah.
man, there's some
You're right.
classic songs. You're My Favorite Mistake. You ever heard that Sheryl Crow song?
Yes.
God damn.
Tremendous guitar.
First of all, god damn, that bitch could sing. She had this like soft, warm voice. It's like a hug that you get through your ears. It's like this loving voice that she has. And she's talking about this relationship that's just fallen apart, and that you're my favorite mistake. And you hear the emotions and the love through her voice. You gotta have pain to feel that, man. You gotta have pain to understand it. You gotta have pain to be able to relate to it. You've gotta have experienced that. If you're some fresh-faced pup who's never skid his knee and never had a family member die, you don't know what the fuck the possibilities of the world are. You can't appreciate the full spectrum because you don't know how low the lows can get. Your lows are pretty fucking high. So when you do hit a low, it makes you appreciate the days that are high.
You know, I was just reading this. I'm reading this book called Cutting Through Spiritual Materialism, and it's by this Tibetan monk named Chogyam Trungpa, who was just writing about this thing that you're saying, and he was saying disappointment. Disappointment is one of the great states to be in for growth and for spirituality, because disappointment means you're having a contact with truth. It generally means you're having a contact with truth. Something has gone against your expectation, which is how the universe works. And then you find yourself in what he describes as like just the rocky terrain of truth. So now the relationship that you thought might work out, but you knew it wouldn't, it didn't. Or your mom has died. Or you just put your dog to sleep. Now you're experiencing reality. You're experiencing the fact that you are in a maelstrom of atoms that will inevitably dissipate into nothingness. And that is a really intense fucking place to be in. But he doesn't say stay in a place of disappointment. He says that to move past that place into the next place, which is the incredible peace and joy that comes from recognizing that you're part of this infinite, non-ending, changing, beautiful thing, you've got to recognize the first part, which is you're not going to last. Nothing's going to last. No one you know is going to survive this thing. Everything that you've ever said will be lost in time. We are all part of an infinite, shifting, changing thing. And what's causing you the problems is your desire to hold on to a form, to hold on to the idea of this is who I am. This is how things are always going to be. This is going to last forever. That conception will always cause you pain. If you have a hangover, no. If you're having a terrible trip, and you start thinking, I'm going to be freaking out forever, man, that will only make the trip worse. And if you're with someone you love and you think, I'm going to be with this person forever, you're setting yourself up for some pretty severe disappointment because you won't. And so that disappointment that comes from realizing that, that's the place where you start growing. Hare Krishna.
I just got disappointed.
Why are you freaking me out, Duncan
You're
Trussell?
fucking with me, Duncan Trussell.
You're fucking with my head, Duncan Trussell.
It was all right. I walked in here, the sun was out.
I don't think we all
like
need
a
it.
fucking Elton John song.
There's an old expression that a wise man learns from the mistakes of others, a fool learns from his own.
Yes.
You know, and I think that I don't know if we need to have massive fucking chaos for people to understand and appreciate how cool life can be, but it helps. And the people that I know that are the most interesting all had fucked up lives.
Yeah.
All of us. We
Yeah.
all had fucked up lives. Nobody here in this room was on the Brady Bunch.
Well, it gets you out there, man. It's like, you know, you always hear about people who get cancer. And then all of a sudden, they're skydiving. They're like running from the bulls. They're doing anything they want. They're telling
Fucking guys, right?
They're telling the truth. They're telling the truth, and that's really. I think that's like that's a tragic thing in the sense that for people to actually start appreciating their existence, they have to be dying. You know, dying is within a year. We're all dying. But it's like suddenly when you wake up to the fact that you're dying, that's when you actually are born. And a lot of people don't get that.
Yeah, there's that wake-up call. There's that reality check. When this is the real game,
Yes.
this is the real shit, man.
And you're really affecting people.
Well, it's so easy to get complacent. It's so easy to just get lazy. It's so easy to just look at life and not appreciate the fuck out of this crazy ride we're on.
Yeah.
Especially us. We're on the craziest ride of all, the ride of the professional comedian. You know,
Right.
We get drugs from the audience. We tell jokes and they give us drugs. Like the drug of laughter, that's a drug. We're all addicted to it. The drug of killing.
You know, man, I think it's a crazy ride, but I think if you have been blasted out of a pussy onto this planet, you're having a crazy ride.
Everyone.
There's no way to not have a crazy ride. And the
Joey
thing,
Diaz just yawned and Brian put it on camera. Why are you talking to me about rides, Duncan Trussell? I'm going to ride back home to my bed. You keep talking, cocksucker. Oh, fuck you. You two fucking hippies. You just started smoking weed a week ago.
Yeah.
He would say that for the first, 10 years. Joe Rogan, you've been smoking weed for a year. You've been smoking weed for 2 years. Joe Rogan, you've been smoking weed for 3 years. Shut the fuck up. Joe Rogan, it's only been 10 years. You don't even know about weed yet. 4 more years, then you understand the nuance, the subtleties.
30 years.
The fucking S's, the patois of the weed.
50 years.
Rogan, it's been fucking half your life. There's a whole half of your life you did without weed, so shut the fuck up.
You did, and it's amazing what you did do without the weed. Like now they shut it off for a while.
God
See
help.
what would really happen.
Yeah, God praise Eddie Bravo. Praise Zeus and praise Odin for Eddie Bravo. Because if it wasn't for him, I would have never started smoking weed.
Right.
I thought it was for losers.
That'd be so weird to see the difference in your life.
Yeah, I'd probably be way more aggro. It's a beneficial substance, man, and that's the real problem that I have with people that want to go on and on about people who are addicted to it. Like, I love Dr. Drew. I think he's a good person. I really do. But whenever I hear him talk about people being addicted to weed, I'm like, let's get all those people that are addicted to it in a room and find out what the fuck else is going on.
Right.
I guarantee you shouldn't blame weed. It's not a physically addictive thing.
I always feel something. I always feel that you have an addictive personality. We've discussed when you were on the Kong, what's the name? Quake. I remember when you were dropping this on me, and I'm like, where's this coming from, Joe? And you were like, dog, you don't know when I used to leave you guys at the store, I'd go home and
I play till 7 in the morning.
And for people to recognize that, that's where the gift comes in. Because somebody would write that off. Like that's just what he does every fucking night till 7 in the morning. And it's weird how I've always believed, especially for me, it's always been the transfer of addictions. Mm-hmm. Okay, and at the end of the game, here's the simplest way to solution. If you're gonna have a fucking addiction, you might as well let it be the cheapest and the less harmful. And in my eyes, it's always been the weed. It makes me better at night when I write. It makes me, calms me down the daytime. Whatever I make it believe that it does, it fucking does.
Yeah, but it's not a make-believe thing, man.
No.
I know
But
you.
you know what
I
I'm
see
saying.
what happens when you get high. Well, first of all, I never see you sober.
No, you see me sober.
3 times.
No, you see me
I
sober.
documented them. I wrote them down. Believe Joey Diaz is sober. And then I look at his pocket. He's got empty Chiba Chew wrappers. I'm like,
Chiba Chew.
I might be incorrect.
No,
Sober
no.
is a relative term.
But it's really weird. Like sometimes I go, you know what? Monday I'm not gonna smoke nothing or eat nothing, and by Tuesday it's not like I'm jonesing. I'll just find myself with a joint at 5 in the afternoon when I'm writing something But I like it. Guys, out of all the addictions, whether it's going to strip clubs, drinking, gambling, I could have been hooked on 1,000 fucking things. We ended up with reefer.
I enjoy
Even
it
if
as a
addictive.
ritual. I enjoy it as a ritual before I write. I enjoy it as a ritual, like before we do podcasts. I like it as a ritual. I like it. It's like signifies that we're going to shut off our phones and get into this space.
Right.
Whether it's a space of doing stand-up or the space of writing or the space of doing a podcast. I like it in that way. But I also like the effects. The effects are undeniable, man, for me. That introspective aspect of it that you talked about earlier is so important.
Very important.
I've been talking about it on stage, the term paranoia. You know, the people are like, I don't like weed, it makes me paranoid. I'm like, you really should be paranoid. If you're paying attention, if you really want to just open yourself up to all the possibilities, it's insanity out there.
Yeah.
Everywhere you go, you're a bag of blood, a fleshy bag that's holding a couple of gallons of blood. And if any of it spills out, you're fucking doomed. And you're running around in metal boxes. Everybody's flying by, going 60 plus miles an hour. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're running over motorcycles. You see that shit in New York?
You see that shit?
You see that shit?
In front of his kid.
Well, hey, there was some craziness that went on. I don't know who started what or who did what, but I know that dude ran over a guy
I'm gonna
on
bet
a
it
bike.
was the bikers.
Could have been. However, how he handled it might have been incorrect also. I don't know.
What happened?
Well,
The guy got, apparently someone slowed down in front of him and he bumped the bike. And then the guy stopped his bike. And the assumption is that the guy did it on purpose, being a dick. That he was trying to box in this guy in the truck and make him slow down. We also don't know what their interaction was before this video started. We don't know if this had been going on for a while. Like maybe the biker panicked and cut someone off. The biker was an Asian driver. I'm not saying that Asian drivers are terrible, but a lot of Asian drivers are terrible. Are we in agreement on this?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean
It's not that all of them are terrible, but that is the goddamn stereotype. Okay, and I'm not saying that
I
this
don't
guy's
even know-
responsible.
I've never
That's
heard
the
that
goddamn
before.
Well,
stereotype.
no, it's like 99.9%.
It's the goddamn stereotype.
I've never heard that.
And it's not 100% true, of course. Just like it's not 100% true that all Italians beat their wives. Okay, but and me being Italian, I can say that. But the reality is that this guy, in the video, drives over. They're yelling at him, and he drives over this bike and drives over a guy, and broke his body. I mean, the guy, he drove over him with a fucking SUV.
Yeah.
I don't know if that had to have happened. I don't know. I don't know what happened before that. I certainly think it's a terrible tragedy on both ends, that the guy in the car got beat up and that the guy got ran over. It's a terrible tragedy. But besides my horrible racist Asian joke, which I apologize for profusely, I was just joking around and making a point. But
so
I don't
sorry.
know what happened. I really don't know what happened. So, but when I'm looking at him, I look at a guy who drove over somebody, and then I looked at another guy went insane and beat the guy's window in while he has a baby in the car.
Yeah.
So to me, it says tragedy on both sides.
Sure.
It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy of overreacting on both sides, for sure. A horrible tragedy.
Yeah, it sucks.
Horrible tragedy that the guy got pulled out of his car and beat up. Horrible tragedy
Did
that
the guy get pulled out of his car and
he
get
got
beat up?
pulled out. He got beat up. He got
Slashed
cut up.
his face.
Yeah. Well, there was all this glass that broke, too, because the guy broke the window. He's breaking the window with his helmet.
Yeah.
He's smashing the window with his helmet. The whole thing's crazy.
They
And the whole
threw
thing
a
is.
spike strip out.
Did they really?
That's what I read.
What's a spike strip?
Popped his tires.
Who threw it out?
The bikers.
They had a spike strip on
That's
them?
what I read.
Okay, you are not Googling this. You're not even trying to substantiate this.
Google it.
Okay, I will pull it up. Okay, bikers threw down spike strip. Okay, here we go.
You know, I'm watching this and I'm thinking, you know, you, your wife, your kid. What the fuck? What?
I know.
the hell
Well,
could happen?
there was tinted windows, so they might not be able to see that this guy had his wife and his kid in the car. It doesn't say that, Duncan.
I read it.
And did it have
I'm-
license plates on their things?
Biker brawl.
They popped his tires. That's why he couldn't keep going.
No, apparently someone stabbed his tire. That was one of the.
Maybe that's what I read.
One of the. That's not real, Brian. You can't trick me. I know what a video game looks like. You fuck. It looks pretty goddamn good though.
Grand Theft Auto.
Look how good that looks. Isn't that amazing? Like the textures of the road. It's so beautiful.
Oh, show the time lapse. Have you seen that? The time lapse of
I'm so
Grand Theft
fascinated.
Auto?
I'm never gonna get into this game. I cannot do it because it's just too. It looks like it's too good.
Have you not
I don't
played
wanna-
it at all? Not
No,
fucking
I
around?
know me, man. I don't fuck around. I know me. I'm crazy.
What about this Oculus Rift thing and Quake? 'Cause
Like
Quake,
I said, I know me, bitch.
Quake is supposed to be Oculus Rift friendly,
Well,
or
I
supposed
feel
to,
like
so-
out of
Left 4
all the
Dead
things,
too.
I'm allowing myself, out of all the things that get me crazy addicted, I'm allowing myself to just fuck with pool. Because pool is, I think I get something out of it that I don't get out of video games. I get like a body calmness because it's all about like meditating on the distance that the ball is going to go and calming yourself down and putting yourself into a very sensitive state while you're playing. I don't get that from video games. So when I looked at it objectively, I'm like Joey said, you got addictions, you got to pick which is the best one. And for me, the best one is pool.
You
This
gotta
is
come
a
to your own
time lapse
term.
they
You come
made
to
of
your
it.
own thing.
Yeah.
How nice is it to go to I mean, I don't even like nice pool halls. If I'm gonna go to a pool hall, I want to see it for what it is, but I don't want stupidity.
Like Hard Times.
Yeah, I don't
You
wanna
ever go to Hard Times with me? You ever been to
No,
Hard
no,
Times?
no, no, I don't
Where have
wanna-
we gone? We went to the old Hollywood Billiards, which was awesome.
Right, we went to the place in New York City. Me,
God, I
you,
missed
and
that
Fabian
place.
10 years ago, 12
Yeah.
years ago.
Yeah.
In Manhattan. Then we went somewhere else.
That was Chelsea. We went to Chelsea Billiards. That was Chelsea
Sussman
Billiards
showed up?
after, yeah. Chelsea Billiards after, I think it had already changed names. Chelsea Billiards was the legendary place. Like sometimes you'll see me wear this jacket. It's like a varsity jacket that says
Yeah,
Chelsea
yeah.
Billiards on the back. You've seen that. That at all-time great pool halls for pool hustlers in action. That's the greatest, or one of the greatest, next to Hard Times in California. One of the greatest in the history of the world. That place was a 24-hour pool hall where half the people in there, you'd go at 3 o'clock in the morning, half the people in there were vagrants that could rob you. I mean, rob you playing pool. They could get out. Homeless dudes who knew how to fucking get out. They knew how to play safe. They knew how to fuck you up. They would get you on those tables, especially what they would call a gaff table. There's a table where one pocket rolls to the right. And if you know that pocket rolls to the right, you could put someone in a position where they don't think they can make the ball, but they can, and you know it. Little shit things like you can scratch on shots where you don't think you can. If you know a table, especially what they call a gaff table, it's huge, very important if you're a pool player.
The home team advantage.
They would just rob people. They would rob people. But there was also like really high stakes gambling between like high level pros too. Really interesting stuff to watch. Both the drunks getting robbed and then, by the hustlers, and then the real big sharks come in and they would, match up and put the money on the light. And you're in the middle of fucking New York City, dude. It's 4 o'clock in the morning and dudes are playing for $10,000. And when you're a kid and you're watching that, it's some exciting shit. That was a part for me. It was like being a part of this really rare underground society that I knew was not going to last very long. Like, I'm like, this crazy 24-hour pool hall life where people are players and they're gambling, they're bringing their own money, and they're matching up and barking at each other. You ain't got no heart, and they're fucking that's a crazy underground world. These guys were making a living, paying their bills, completely off the grid. No taxes, no taxes. Stop. I'm staying at this fucking boarding house down the street. I'm in a house with 10 other dudes. I got my pool cue. I put it under my blanket when I sleep. I get up in the morning and I go down to Chelsea, and you're like, whoa, these guys were living there. They were getting an education in this gangster life at this 24-hour pool hall. I know several dudes who got arrested while I was playing there. One dude who was a 3-card Monte champion, he was a bad motherfucker at 3-card Monte. He's a slick Puerto Rican dude. He would go out and he'd just have all these dumb white people from Nebraska that had never been to New York City before, and he would be doing this 3-card Monte shit. And this is all before the internet, and they couldn't, they would come on right up here, sir. You look like a winner. You look like you know how to play a game, my friend. Come on over here, dog. How much money you got on you, my friend? My friend, where you from? You got a beautiful suit. That's a beautiful suit. Is that Armani? What is that, bro? Yo, that's beautiful. Hey, listen, man, this is a game called 3-Card Monte. We just like to have a little fun here in New York City, especially people come in for the first time.
No, they're
it's
showing
real
it to
simple.
you. They're
It's
showing
real
it to you.
simple.
Here it is. Here's the thing.
Real
right over here.
simple.
And now they're giving it to you, Duncan. They're giving it to
Guess
you.
it. I'll give you a
They're
couple
giving
free
to you.
ones.
Yeah,
Guess
yeah.
it. There
Yeah,
it
right
is.
There. Bam, there you go. You would have just won some money. And all of a sudden there's a partner next to him. So how do we do it? You see the partner getting closer in. Yeah, I got the black thing right here. He had a pee. And Duncan, he's showing it to you. And the next thing you know, Duncan, it all goes to hell.
Well, there's the cups, and there's also 3-card Monte. There's the cups where you're trying to
seen
figure
Well,
out
whatever,
which
the 3-card
card.
money. All of a
Yeah.
sudden, the 20 goes down, and the guy wins. And the next 20 goes down again, and the guy doubles his money. And that's it. Now he gets the guy from Nebraska to come in and throw 40, And he even wins, and the wife is like, do it again, because everybody wants to come to New York.
Well, you ever seen a guy try to walk away with the one victory?
Shit.
No.
Yo, they will attack
so
you.
So what they
will
do is
attack you.
Really?
they get that table going. This is a table, Duncan. So right there, they'd have 2 guys sucked in and one of their own. So you'd be working with me. And you're 20, you'd be doubling up. You already won 120. But I know I got 3 people in the audience that I'm hypnotizing. That I'm letting them know they're going to win. They just come to New York. You know what? I got $200 in my pocket. If I double it, that's $400. I mean, this is how you're thinking right there. This is a do-or-die situation. And all of a sudden, right there, when they got you, boom, the black, bam, they take up $1,200. The Puerto Rican yells the police, and they take their money. And 3 tourists are like, what the fuck?
And they're gone.
Just happened. Hey! And the guy's got a carton, like a bottom of a carton for cans, and he just throws it up in the air. And that's it. That's their residence. It's a carton. The 3 cups are gone, and the bean is in their fucking mouth, and they're walking on the street, and there ain't no fucking cops.
And they're all gone in different directions.
And that's
too.
it. And now they hook up again an hour later at the same place, and they do that same scam again. They would do that 5 times, make $6 grand. That's how good it was. I got caught in one day with a buddy of mine. They took me for a 20. The guy was yelling at me. Next thing you know, the guys I was with laid out 20 a piece. Bam, $60. And next thing you know, boom, the police. They blow a whistle. What's going on here? The cops, everybody runs.
They got your
Fucking
money.
tremendous. They got your money. Fucking tremendous, man. Cool. You know, when you made that turn on 42nd Street, it was when you were 13, like or 12, it was something that Ari says that when you walk around today, you walk past people, you know, and all of a sudden, like, under their breath, they'll go, weed. And like 5 feet, you look around, they look at you, and all of a sudden they come back up to you. It was completely different. When you cut that corner on 42nd Street, Duncan, you'd hear every drug in the world. Weed, marijuana, THC, joints, loose joints, acid, ácido. Because that's acid in Spanish. Ácido. Fucking ácido. Fucking marijuana, heroin, cocaína, perico. Fucking a different goddamn
If I was
society.
stupid rich, like Bill Gates rich,
Yeah.
I would buy Chelsea Billiards and I would reinstate it. I would bring it back. I'd make it 24 hours a day. I'd make it the last bastion of the pool hustler.
Is it open?
It's like some faux pool hall now where they have like red cloth and fucking shiny lights and they play horrible music that makes you want to throw up. If you go to a pool hall and not playing classic rock, turn around. Turn around and leave. Just if you walk in, if you don't hear some Leonard Skinner, some Aerosmith, if you don't hear Sweet Home Alabama, get out of there. Because they got red cloth and you're playing on buckets and no one's leveled these fucking tables. It's a disaster. It's not real pool.
And the only dinner you could get is an old hamburger or a bag of fries.
The place that I used to play at in White Plains, New Jersey, or White Plains, New York, got turned into a disco. It's basically a disco now. It was Executive Billiards. Executive Billiards in White Plains. Right down the street from Nicky's Pizza, the greatest white pizza the earth has ever known. If you want to get off your gluten-free diet, go to fucking White Plains, New York. Go to Nicky's Pizza and get the white pizza.
Right.
It's got white cheese on it, ricotta cheese with garlic and olive oil, and it will knock your dick right into the cat litter box. It's
That sounds bad.
unfucking believably good.
That sounds bad.
It's better than dick in the dirt. I was struggling for a metaphor.
Dick in a cat litter box.
That sounds
Better
bad.
than your dick in a pile of cat shit and piss.
Those crumbs sticking to the tip of your helmet. The place was like a great place back in the day in the 90s. That was the spot. Like pool hustlers would come in from all over the world. They would come, like they would make stops in New York. If they were in the New York area, there was a few places they would play. And one of them was they would always check in at Executive. And, you know, if you were, like, my buddy owned the place, so he'd be on the phone, you know, and they'd get a call, you know, in like the middle of the day, you know, he's polishing balls and shit, and he'd get a call that Jake the Snake is in town. You know, there's this dude, Jake the Snake, who played one pocket, and he would come down, and, you know, and they would call George the Greek. This guy wants to play one pocket with you. This motherfucker's got no heart. And then everybody would meet up at the pool hall at like 10 o'clock at night, and you'd see the dude practicing, knocking balls around the table, like, oh, shit, it's going down. And then they would put this big stack of money, and there was this Guido gangster dude who was always there who had a gun just in case somebody tried to rob a steak. It was a fucking crazy place to be a part of.
Sounds cool.
Oh, it was Runyon-esque. It was a movie. I mean, it was like a crazy movie about the Depression, except there was no depression. It was just going to diners and watching guys gamble their life away, and me being a visitor in the world. I was not really a player. I couldn't play that good. I played okay. Like for a regular person, I played amazing. But for these guys, I would play and I would always lose. And I won like 1 or 2 tournaments ever. Most of the time I would lose. I'd have to get really lucky to win. So I got the chance to see these people who lived entirely off of this one crazy game. That's all they did. All they talked about was the different conditions of the cloth and what kind of chalk are you using and what fucking tipper you got. You got a sniper on this motherfucker? When did you get this sniper? Is that better? And they would try. Everybody's trying to constantly figure out an edge because they're playing a game where their life, whether they eat or don't, whether they go hungry, whether they have money for a hotel room, is all based on fractions of an inch. Whether a ball rolls slightly to the left too far or bumps the other ball and gets in the perfect position. The fucking differences between those things are the tiniest fraction on the cue ball of where you hit it. And they're obsessed with it, obsessed with the movements, and just trying to live off those movements.
That gives me an anxiety attack.
It's madness.
Ugh.
But it's also beautiful. When you watch it done right, it's an art form. That's what people don't understand about the game. When people say, oh, you're fucking boring, you talk about pool, it's just so fucking boring. To me, it's not. Trust me. When you, it's one of those things, when you appreciate it, when you know how difficult it is to do, then it becomes an art form.
Like
it becomes like a
StarCraft.
ballet. Exactly. When you talk about StarCraft, I go blank because I have no point of reference. I don't understand the game. I've never tried to. I'm terrified of it. I see you fucking start sweating when you talk about it. I see your face starts sunken in like your body's trying to
I've
conserve
quit.
water
I've
because you
quit.
know you're not going to be. Your body. You say
Why'd you quit,
StarCraft
bro?
and your
Why'd you
body
quit?
goes into like the hibernative state where it knows it's not going to get nutrition for the
You
next
really
6
stay in
hours.
for 3 days, don't you? And
What?
play that stuff. You would stay
I
in
quit.
for 3 days.
I didn't quit because of the addiction. I quit because they demoted me to Bronze League again. What? I'm not dealing with that shit anymore. I'm like number 75 in Bronze League. I'd made it up to the silver, and
Listen,
then
man, your ego reveals you, my brother. Why do you give a fuck if you're in Bronze League?
because it's you being Bronze League, Joe. It's an insult.
I wouldn't even be in Bronze League.
I'm getting beaten by
I'd be in a-
toddlers.
I would be in aluminum.
It
I would
means-
be in scrap
It
aluminum
means that
league.
it means I'm playing against 4th graders who are crushing me.
That's all right. At least you're playing against somebody.
No, it's
Why are you ageist?
It's a young man's sport.
You're an ageist, patriarchal
Atriist.
asshole.
Atriist.
Your male ageist privilege is showing. You basically hate women.
Put it in your blog. I don't
You
care.
basically hate women. I'm gonna have to
Fuck.
blog about you, Duncan Trussell. You hate women and you're an ageist.
I love women. I hate Bronze League.
I don't say I love women. You know what I say? I love nice women. I don't say I love men either. There's a lot of men that are cunts. A lot of men suck.
Remember we were talking about Bigfoot? Somebody actually killed him.
They didn't just kill one.
No,
oh,
don't show
you
that.
mean in
That's
the
a,
game?
That's
Yeah.
a spoiler.
But
That's
check-
a spoiler.
Don't spoil it, dude.
That's a spoiler.
Hey, don't spoil it.
Oh, you're
Duncan
gonna like
thinks
this.
it's important, not spoil it.
I'm
say
not-
not
I don't-
spoil
I'm not
it.
looking at
Show
it.
it to me offline.
He's not
While
looking.
instead of you son of a bitch, Brian doesn't even care. This is insubordination. If this was any other company, if he was working for any other company besides the Death Squad affiliated company like the Freak Party,
Sit here, right here, he gets him.
I don't give a fuck, bro. I don't want to see him shoot Bigfoot. Bigfoot's probably a man.
Oh, look. He's
Oh,
so
he found it.
sad.
That's so sad.
Shoot me, human.
Yeah, that is sad. Well, let's put it something happy to balance this out.
Okay, we
Pull
can-
up the Godzilla trailer. Oh, dude, they have Oppenheimer quoting the Bhagavad Gita. In it.
Ah,
It's
wonderful.
brilliant. Find it. You got to find it. It's on Daily Motion. It's on my Twitter. If you go to my Twitter, it's one of the most recent posts. But it's the trailer for the new Godzilla. And oh, motherfucker, does this look good?
I can't wait to see it.
I got a 3/4 staff just watching the first 10 seconds of the trailer.
I didn't even know
I
it
was
was
just like,
out.
oh, they're doing it right. They're doing it right. It's not out. Apparently, it's a concept, and they're building it right now. But it's a Warner Brothers, what do you say, a property?
Right.
Check this shit out, son. Are you giving full attention?
yeah.
He knew the world would not be the same. Few people cried. Most people were silent.
Look at this shit. We're looking at smashed buildings. You can find it online, folks. You can't stop the internet. You can't take pee out of the ocean.
Hindu scripture.
Tower 7.
I don't know why they're trying to remove this for some reason. Like it's on YouTube sites, it's pulled down. You know what that is? That's some ancient dumbass thinking. That's some executives that don't get. Show us this, motherfucker.
Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
Listen, if that doesn't get your dick hard, move to France. All right? Just go. Get the fuck out of America. If that doesn't get your dick hard, quit. Meanwhile, the Japanese invented Godzilla. By the way, that's a parody of a really racist, nationalistic American.
Comes out in 2014.
That looks
God
so
damn, that looks
fucking
good. Well, just the attitude that they have in creating that clip when you talk,
Yeah.
you got Oppenheimer talking about the Bhagavad Gita when they Oppenheimer, for folks who don't know, is the guy who was the most critical aspect. The Manhattan Project was a huge project, obviously, but the most critical aspect was Oppenheimer. And he's credited as being the guy who figured out how to make a fucking atomic bomb.
Yeah, that is an incredible verse, man. I have become death, the destroyer of worlds. That is so badass.
Dude.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so that's gonna be intense. So Bigfoot's dead, and there you go. There's a bunch of people who say they've found Bigfoot this week. There's a new video of Bigfoot, and we won't even show it because I'm not gonna fucking insult you. The shit is ridiculous. That's not it, dude. This is more. That ain't even Bigfoot. Bigfoot doesn't have titties like that.
Oh shit!
Is this Grand Theft Auto? Oh, Bigfoot's got a mask. This is fucking a huge spoiler, dude.
Why
Stop.
would you do that?
Brian, that's so rude. I hope somebody actually just used the Grand Theft Auto engine to create that, and that wasn't real.
No.
This is the sleeping Bigfoot.
And it's a female. How do they know it's a
Totally.
female?
Well,
Is it
they smelled
tits?
his pussy. They smelled her pussy a mile away.
Bigfoot
Smelled like a
pussy.
tuna that got hit with a musket. Just fucking lying out there in the middle of the woods. What do you think it sounded? It must be a female. A male can't smell that fishy.
Look at this
What is
turd.
that?
This is a piece of
Baby Bigfoot.
shit that they found.
Yeah, that's mountain lion shit. It's got elk hair in it. Dumb cunts. I'll tell you right now. I've only been hunting for a year. I can tell you what the fuck that is. I might be wrong, by the way. I'm very confident in what I. But don't mistake that for being accurate.
Yeah. This is ridiculous.
Well, these people are crazy as fuck. Todd Dishotel, who's a professor at NYU, who we had on that podcast. If there's one thing that we answered on the Joe Rogan Questions Everything, it's not whether or not Bigfoot is real, but it's whether or not the evidence that has been purported to be Bigfoot DNA has been acquired in the most non-contaminated way. And that answer is clearly no. There's not a direct chain of command between finding this and like documenting the fact these guys wore rubber gloves, they had masks on, they picked this up with tweezers. When you find human DNA, it's amazing how easy it is for humans to get DNA on shit now. They can get DNA. If you sneeze, if you breathe, if you touch something with your sweaty skin, you get human DNA on things. It's incredible how sensitive these pieces of equipment are. So when you get some fucking piece of shit that a hunter found in the woods, this is Squatch turd. Squatch came by, shit on my elk carcass. You don't know what the fuck happened before that thing got to you.
Right.
And when you start testing it, it's very irresponsible scientifically. So whether or not these people are telling the truth, I believe they are. I believe they really believe that it's a Bigfoot turd. Whether or not, or hair, or whatever the fuck they claim they have, or many pieces of evidence they claim they have. The real problem is all of them have been extracted from the crime scenes unscientifically. So me, as executive producer, Duncan Trussell, co-host of Joe Rogan Questions Everything,
Hello.
we say, go fuck yourself. That shit ain't real, son. That's a fucking chick with a Sasquatch costume
You
on.
say that.
I
What do you
really
say?
don't think
don't
anyone
know.
thinks it's real, though. Even the news, when they showed it on the news, they were like, oh, here we go again.
Oh, that's not true. I saw some dummies that were being interviewed that seemed like they really believed in it.
That's so cool.
There was a few dummies that really think they acted like they believed in it.
I don't know the answer, man. That's what I learned from the show. Is I have no fucking idea, and anytime I think I know something, it always turns out to be something wrong. And generally, if I let myself just be in the state of not knowing, things get a lot more interesting anyway. I don't know if there's a Bigfoot. There could be a Bigfoot anywhere. There could be underground. They could live in the earth like hornets in a hive. And
You know what's more likely than Bigfoot? Is that little tiny person thing, that orang pendek.
Sure.
That's more likely. They found these motherfuckers 14,000 years old, Joey. 3 feet tall, hobbit dudes. They had spears. They might have actually
Where'd they find them?
they found them on the island of Flores.
They found
They're
their-
called the Homo floresiensis or something like that. They were alive 14,000 years ago. That ain't shit.
And they have legends about these little people who could fly, or they rode birds or something.
Can you
How
imagine?
about those giant
They
fucking?
figured out how to fucking kidnap eagles.
How about those giant wasps?
Insane. Killing people in China. And by the way, this was like a week after we were talking about wasps on a podcast with Josh Barnett. Josh Barnett's obsessed with wasps. How crazy gangster wasps are. And they could just they kill everything. They kill tarantulas. There's videos of wasps fucking up tarantulas because wasps can keep stinging.
Have you ever been stung by a wasp?
They can kill you. No, I haven't. But
I have. It is awful.
The ones you're seeing, these Chinese ones or Japanese ones, these are giant.
Oh,
these
yeah.
are enormous wasps.
Their stingers are like hypodermic needles, man.
Yeah.
And they're just punching holes in Chinese
Well, they're the
people.
size of a small mouse.
Look at that. It's the size of a hand.
Fuck that.
Look at the size of that guy's hand or girl's hand. Gal. Should we say gal? I don't want to
Lass.
offend
You
anybody.
could say
guy.
lass.
Lass. Young maiden.
I think it's a dude. It looks like
I
a
hope
dude.
I hope whoever they are, they're not sensitive. I'm so tired of people being so needy.
Oh, can you imagine getting swarmed by one of those things?
Well, they've killed 42 people and
A lot
injured
of them, right?
160 plus in China over the past, the past few months.
Fuck.
Well, they don't know what's going on, but they're fucking huge.
I know
man.
what's going on. A portal's opened up to hell, and those things are climbing out of it.
The apocalypse is a slow-moving event. It's glacier-like. It's not like an asteroid.
The apocalypse. There's no apocalypse.
Listen, cocksucker, you want to smell my ass? That's the apocalypse. I'll pull my pants down. I'll unleash that in-and-out double-double in your face.
Speaking of the fucking apocalypse, man, I got a fucking Oculus Rift waiting in my house right now.
Don't
Just got the
panic. Don't
update.
get sweaty.
I gotta get back.
You're sweaty,
going?
man.
Where the
Why are
fuck
you
you
sweaty?
going?
You're not going anywhere.
We just
You're
got
hanging
here.
out to the
We
end of
just
this
got here.
podcast.
Where am I going?
There's people that are listening to
Yeah,
this
where
that
you
depend
going?
on you.
You
Don't
know
be
where to
so
go.
selfish.
Yeah,
Don't
where
get
you
caught
gotta
up in
go?
the wave of
Hang on.
selfishness
Let
that
me
is
finish.
addiction.
I wasn't going to abandon. Oh, it's not addiction. It's going into an alternate universe. That's not addiction. I want to see Skyrim in 3D.
Look at that shit.
Riders on the storm.
Look at that shit.
Dun, 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 dun. Wow. Oh my God.
Fuck that.
Oh my God. Those
are like
so
puppies.
big. There's a photo of a guy or a gal with 4 of these giant hornets. You really do need to know if it's like a Shaquille O'Neal sized hand or if it's like a
Baby's hand.
Yeah, small.
Let's put all
Little
these
Lester,
hornets in our
like little
baby's
Lester's
hand.
hands. Little Lester has some tiny little hands, right?
That's a giant hornet.
Riders on the storm.
DC Trussell.
DC Trussell, what happened? What did I miss? You putting it in? Are you taking those babies and getting them killed by hornets in your game?
You can't. There's no game
Game
like
of your
that.
mind.
Not yet.
If you had one though, if you had a baby that was alone in the crib, like the mom was on meth and the mom fell asleep in the game, and was right next to the baby, passed out, but a window opened up and a hornet figured out its way through, would you allow all the hornets to come in and kill the baby just so you could see what it would be like?
This is like this is like what was that movie with Harrison Ford? Not Total Recall. Blade Runner. These are like questions. These are the questions you ask an android to make them start malfunctioning.
That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm trying
A
to figure
turtle's
you out.
laying on its back. Its legs are waving in the air. It can't move.
I'm trying to figure out whether the
A tortoise. What's a tortoise? It's a turtle.
I'm trying to figure out whether the uncomfortable moments and the animosity that you faced in your life has turned you irreversibly towards the dark side. I'm trying to figure out whether they can seduce you to the force.
You are saying that if I was to let hornets attack a digitized baby, I would be evil?
Well, that you would want to experience that. What about if you had the options between hornets and a slew of bikini pageant contest entrants blowing the kid?
Let me tell you something, man. Have you ever played Fallout 3?
No.
The game where you wander through the apocalypse in Fallout 3. Well, there's a mission in Fallout 3 where there's a little like commune of orphans who are living in some kind of cave. One of the missions is and in part of this world there's like a compound of slavers. So you can bring them people, you can sell people to slavery there. And one of the missions built into this game is you go into that fucking compound of kids, kidnap one, and bring it back to these slavers to do whatever the fuck they're going to do to the kid, and they give you some weird special executioner's mask that gives you powers. And that's encoded into the fucking game. So that's what's weird about video games is there's this like people will do awful shit in video games. You would too.
Oh, I would.
You would
I would.
unleash
That's why I
hornets on
won't
a
do
baby.
it. No, I wouldn't do that. But
In a video game.
I probably would on you. You know, like if I had an option. You know, if you could like pick who would want. You know, who you'd want. Like if you could take like a public figure. You know, like who? Think of someone who really annoys you. Don't even mention a name. Let's just take some horrible foreign dictator type character.
Yes.
Some Coney. Whatever happened to Coney? Boy, is there a fucking cause that went away any quicker than that Coney 2012 thing? All you got to do is whip your dick out and run around the street beating off, and then whoosh, it doesn't matter how many babies die in Africa. Everybody's like, this topic is over.
He went to Oprah.
Did he?
He went on Oprah, didn't he? And he became a Christian and shit.
Well, the guy was in the middle of the fucking street beating off in San Diego. The guy who like started this organization and put the whole thing together. See if you can find that video, Brian. It's whatever it's caused by. I don't give a fuck. There's a lot of kinds of stress in this world. There's one type of stress. It's called fighting off the gay.
DCT in the house.
What did you think when this whole thing went down? This guy got arrested and then he was beaten off in the middle of the street. Think that makes sense, right? Totally makes sense.
No, I thought it was something even deeper than that, man. I thought it was some kind of attack from the guy in mind on him because he was ripping people off. I don't know if he was for sure, but I was suspicious of him. Of course. And so I thought that it had reached this like psychic, some kind of psychic magnitude of negativity just swirled down on him and temporarily exposed him to the world. And this is somebody that maybe isn't reliable or somebody that you shouldn't be sending money to. I don't know exactly how they were using the money that they were getting, but I know with a great many charities, legally they only have
There he is. Look at him. You're totally right, by the way. I hate to interrupt you there. But you're totally right. This is him walking around naked, and the old man behind him. They're in San Diego. It's all like ex-military and shit down there. They're like, son of a bitch, I stormed the beaches of Iwo Jima, and you fucking cocksucker run around my neighborhood showing your dick to my wife, I'll fucking kill you.
But this is something...
You're right, though. What is that?
It's about this.
It's about this?
Yeah, it's South Park's song about this.
Oh, South Park had a song about it?
Yeah, it's called Whacking It in San Diego. By the way, have you watched this season of South Park? Brilliant shit, man.
I got to get back on the South Park horse.
Yeah.
I heard they're going after everybody. School shootings,
God bless
everything.
them. God bless them. When you're someone like South Park that has that kind of power, the way they use it is so just.
Yes.
They wield the fucking
Beautiful.
almighty sword of retribution, of comedy, of ethics. They're just right. They're right so many times. I never disagree with them. Cut to them shitting on me.
Did you see the Book of Mormon?
I loved it. Yeah, I saw it.
I haven't seen it yet.
It's
I want to
great.
see it.
It's great. I mean, I'm not into musicals, so for me to love it, it shows how good it was.
I hear it's
It's really
amazing.
fun. Yeah, I was way lit when I went to see it too. It's really, it's a really interesting thing that they're so like they're so prolific. They do that show every week, and somehow or another they manage to find time to develop not just a musical, but a really good one.
Yeah.
And it just makes you go, God, I'm such a lazy bitch. As Duncan thinks about how much time Oculus Rift is going to chew out of his life.
Shit, that's the thing, man. I understand the lazy bitch theory, but fuck. Like, what are we supposed to be doing on this planet if not burrowing into the imagination and digitally experience alternate realities for the something that's for the first time in human history has happened. It's a brand new experience. What am I supposed to do? Go to some fucking pool hall and bet $15 to
Joey Diaz, let him know what the fuck's wrong with what he just said.
I have no idea. I have no fucking idea because I'm looking at him and I know he's a brilliant dude. So you'll go home right now, and when will you be outside in daylight again? The truth, because I know there's times years ago you disappeared.
Depends on if there's daylight in the Oculus Rift land that I visit.
So if you set it up tonight, you shut your phone off, lock the door, hide the window.
Hide the window?
Cut to new headlines. Young gamers finding Oculus Rift makes their body produce vitamin D without the sun.
Yes.
Exclamation point. It actually triggers it. You don't need sunlight.
Listen, you first worlders are all stuck on your fucking sun and the light. When will you see the sun again? When will you see light? It's all about
Look at this guy.
Yeah. That's
And his omnidirectional treadmill.
I gotta get one of those.
Do you know who wants to fuck that guy, though?
What?
No one. No one wants to fuck that guy. Someone wants to fuck you, Duncan. Take advantage of that. Look, see, what does he have on the wall? big girl with giant tits that will never have sex with them voluntarily unless her rent is late.
You
And
know,
meanwhile-
man, I think there might be a great many people out there who aren't being fucked at this moment. Why
for
shouldn't
sure.
they get to run on a treadmill and experience some magical, weird realm?
I think they should, but I find it shocking that the first incarnations of it involve violence and not sex. The first incarnations of
No,
this...
my friend put on Oculus Rift porn.
Yeah.
He says that you look down and you see your dick.
Yeah,
And
but
it's-
what are we looking
you
at right here? We're
serious?
looking at
Yeah.
violence.
Oh, this is the Iron Patriot.
We're looking at dudes with guns. They're running around. They're hiding behind barrels. They're trying to snipe on people. They're
Have
being
you-
assholes.
So, like, you know when you give a squeaky toy to a dog
Oh, boy, do I.
and you realize that that squeak is the sound of an animal dying, and that's why they like the squeak, because that's the sound an animal...
I never thought about that until right now.
That's what it is. So like, you know, your sweet little dog's chewing on this thing. It's squeaking just like an animal would if it were biting it. Well, that's what these games are for humans. They're squeak toys. They like let humans experience the, you know, aggressive side that exists in all people. You know, there's this thing where people are always shocked, like, to think that we're using this for violence. But it's like, look what we are.
I think it's cathartic.
Yeah, it's cathartic. I think it's cathartic, and it helps people, you know, get out aggression or just experience, like, you know, bizarre states of being.
Joey, you don't fuck with games, period. You've never fucked with games except pool when you were at the bar when you were a young kid?
I'm a I don't even know the fucking name of it. With the maze and shit. If I'm
The maze?
Yeah, with
Crossword puzzles?
Pac-Man. Pac-Man.
Pac-Man?
I'm a Pac-Man dude. If I go
Miss Pac-Man is apparently better.
in Hollywood,
I'm a
well,
Pac-Man
these
dude.
Powerful
machines
male
now,
feminist.
what they do with these machines now, they've taken all those games. They put Miss Pac-Man,
Yes.
the one with the missiles, they didn't the ones that start from scratch, all that shit.
I
They
watch
put
Pawn Stars too. I know this.
Pawn Stars. I don't know.
They fucking sell those games.
So it's
Somebody
amazing.
always has one. They sell it to a bar.
Yeah.
Oh, they have it at Death Squad. The guy that sent those 4K TVs, he sent us one, like a big arcade, and it has like 500 games on it.
Is that called MAME? Is that what that is?
I think it's a MAME tech.
Do you know
that's
that
the
people think
technology.
that I'm a fucking Nazi because of that stupid zombie robot? People are so stupid. There's so many people that are like looking to find some sort of crazy conspiratorial connection
Yes.
that they've decided that because at Brian's studio at the Ice House, which by the way I have zero input in how he designs it. He just does it himself. I'm not a control freak. And Brian has a fucking zombie that this dude. Do you remember Homeboy's name?
Yeah, let me find it real quick.
Dude's he makes those for movies. You know, like that movie Dead Snow. Did you see Dead Snow?
I don't think I saw it.
Great fucking movie. Stupid as shit, but great. And it's all about zombies that were Nazis, and somehow or another they became zombies. They got frozen up in the fucking South Pole or some shit. And these people are out there, they're camping out, and the zombies come and get them. The Nazi zombies. It's hilariously stupid. So he has one of the zombies from Dead Snow. It's a fucking movie. Okay, he's got this zombie at his studio, and I get all these messages from people that are saying, yeah, I always knew that he had a problem with Jews. That's why he's got a zombie at his studio that has a swastika on. Joey's falling asleep. What?
I'm not falling asleep.
I saw you falling asleep. Joey had his eyes closed. He was like this. I'm going to take a nap, and no one's even going to know.
You wake up
No one's gonna
early.
be any the
Joey
wiser.
wakes up. I'll wake up and like look on Twitter, and Joey's been tweeting since 4:30 a.m. You
When
get
I go
up
to
so
bed,
early.
we change off. We have strict. You know, you ever see that cartoon where there's a sheepdog and the coyote?
Yeah.
And they meet. I'm the coyote. He's the sheepdog. We meet. Morning, Frank. Morning, Sam.
Let me
And
tell you
we
what happened,
punch
guys.
him.
I
We punch
fucking, I was doing fine today. The whole day was going great, and I stopped at the weed store at about 12:30, 12:15.
in the afternoon.
Yeah, just
after
now.
you
I
were
went
there
to-
last night.
No, I wasn't there last night.
The night before last, you were there.
No.
Which
no.
night? You
Tuesday
also
was when I tweeted the thing. I went in there this afternoon. I went to the one on Lancashire to lock up. They have edibles and reefer. They got a lot more selection. The other place just has strong fucking weed.
right.
This one has pre-rolled joints that are dynamite, and we've got edibles that are dynamite and weed that's dynamite. So I go in there this afternoon, and sure enough, the guy goes, "Hey, I got this new thing I want you to try. It's a fucking little brownie thing." And it's just, he goes, these people always have solid stuff. Tell me what you think. I took a bite out of it, and I could tell it was going to be a ride. I could tell. I took
One
a bite
bite?
out of it, like a little bite. Yeah. And I'm like, wow. And all of a sudden, it's been hitting me this afternoon, but I'm all right.
These crazy hippies are so inconsistent. They're so inconsistent with their product. Like you would get a 5X cookie that's not that big a deal.
Yeah.
And then you get one that makes you think about everything that went wrong from ages 3 to 6. You see it all play out in front of you.
Man, I bought one of these chocolate bars and took a little bite of one. A tiny, tiny, tiny little bite. And I fucking like within within 2 hours.
You could taste it.
I'm
man.
like, it was when we were having the heat wave. I'm so paranoid that I'm like, I'm just gonna go fucking jogging. I'm gonna go jogging and try to sweat it out. I'm running by the LA River, look down, see some guy taking his pants off.
Perfect. Suck his cock. What did it taste like?
It tasted like river water.
Tasted like God.
It's like a brownie.
I found the perfect dose for me, edible wise. It's LA Speedweeds gummy bears. 2 gummy bears. Perfect.
Right.
There's a little confusion when it comes to like the breast strips. Breast strips are very tricky. I never go with a full breast strip because you don't know what the fuck.
Never.
It can get too scary. But the gummy bears, for some reason, seem to be pretty consistent. I think it's how they make gummy bears.
I don't know, man. Who knows?
It's a problem. It's illegal. That's why we have to have this fucking conversation.
Well, you've got to be careful because, a lot of people, they go and get their prescription and then they go next door and buy some marijuana brownies and they think, oh, it's just a brownie. I'll eat the whole brownie. And then Satan is dragging them by their hair.
No, this brownie kicked my ass a couple minutes ago.
Well,
It has been fucking wrestling me. I took one bite of it, but I knew how it was packaged, the whole thing. These are real.
Yeah.
I know these people. I'm like, wow, this is pretty fucking good.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think that it is important. And people that hear this and go, guys are talking too much shit about weed and talking about weed, bro. It really is something that people need to hear. They really do, unfortunately. The eating of the brownie can really fucking be psychologically devastating.
Yeah, or the chocolate bar or whatever the
Any
fucking
edibles.
thing is.
Any edibles can really fuck your world up.
Your world up, Jack.
Yeah, you got to
really
be careful.
And sometimes, I tell you, even like I learned with acupuncture, I never get high before I go to acupuncture because it turns into a complete different realm. I feel every needle go into my skin. I feel every needle break the skin. I can hear it. It's like having Spider-Man sense.
You can hear it.
You could hear the
The
needles.
pop?
You could just feel them. The needle correspond with your skin. When I'm not high, I don't feel that. And that's what kills me. That's what stresses me the fuck out. Once I feel a little bit of pain from the needle, it shoots up to my brain. If I'm straight, I'm fine. But if I'm stoned, it takes that little bit of pain and does something else with it. And next thing you know, I'm having a goddamn anxiety attack.
Yeah.
So that's why I got to be careful with situations like that.
Well, it's like I say about bombing. The best I've ever gotten out of stand-up comedy was when I bombed and realized that I need to fucking make some sort of corrections. That's the best improvements that I've ever gotten. It's similar to the feeling that you get when you eat a brownie or whatever and you freak the fuck out.
I've been reading this book called The Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. Have you heard this book?
Who's the author? Chakingi Panka?
Patanjali.
No.
It's
all right.
Patanjali.
I didn't know.
But they talk about how the mind, how there's a term called vrittis. And vrittis is the term for a wave of thought. And so, like, your mind is basically all these waves of thought rolling through it. Each of those are a vritti. And those things are sort of, you are created by things in the external world or other thoughts or feelings that come into your mind. So when you get super high, what's happening is you're suddenly amplifying those vrittis. You're seeing these thought patterns that normally are way under the surface, and those thought patterns it's usually shit you've been ignoring. Like for me, I'll start thinking about like when I had cancer, that would come to my mind. Like, shit, I'm probably gonna die. I might die. This could kill me, or whatever the thing is that you've been trying to ignore or forget about, it just will grab your face and push you right into it. And so the answer is to just embrace that thing, dissolve into it. Go into it, fly into it's like Dante's Inferno. The only way out of hell in Dante's Inferno is by going to the middle and climbing down Satan's leg.
Because Dante never tried to suck Satan's dick. If you suck his dick, as he comes in your mouth, your brain explodes and you appear in the Garden of Eden with Eden, and she hasn't given the apple to the snake yet.
Eden's the stripper that lived in the garden.
Whatever her name is, that whore that was Eve's friend.
It's like a
Eden.
tramp. There's just some like dirty girl who lived there too. They never
Eden, you don't talk about her because all she did was just clean your ass.
Who the fuck was Eden?
She had like wet, warm towels. She would just wipe your ass
that
after you
was her
shat in the
job.
field. Joey, stop yawning. And Brian, stop putting a video on him. You're gonna change the whole tone of this fucking show. You son of a bitch. Jesus. Joey Diaz, what are you doing this weekend? You making a movie?
Yeah.
He's way too high.
I got till the 8th on this thing.
What is this thing you're doing right now?
The thing is, I do. Those
Your
Disney-
life has changed.
No, I always do one of these. Every
Yeah, but
year I
yeah,
do
but
a
yeah, but
Disney
yeah, but
movie
yeah.
every fucking
I was
year.
at the storyteller show the other day. Your life has changed.
No, brother, that was a good fucking thing the other night, wasn't it?
It was a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun.
Ari Shafir's storyteller show. This is not happening on
Did you leave?
ComedyCentral.com.
You left.
I had to
on the
leave.
radio.
I had to do Kevin and Bean in the morning. I had to get out of there. But the reaction that you got when you even walked in the building, your life has changed.
It was rocking over there.
You're living in a
strip
different
club.
world than you were living in a couple of years ago.
No, I'm fine, man. I'm still in the same fucking world.
I know you are, but it's interesting to
Yeah,
watch,
it's very
man.
interesting to watch.
What was the last gig we did together? Where the fuck were we? Boston?
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee.
One of those.
Yeah. Milwaukee and Boston were both insanity.
Are you doing another those dog movies?
Yeah.
Which one is this one? Are you allowed to say?
Dog that saved Easter.
How many times is this dog gonna fucking save
Yeah,
the
what
world?
the fuck
This is
is
the 5th one. Gary Valentine passed on this.
Look at Joey.
Gary Valentine passed, so they brought you back?
No, I always come back.
But you're saying that Gary Valentine
Gary
passed.
Valentine passed on this one. He didn't want
Wow.
more money. I don't know what happened.
Dean Cain, he took a little pit stop before searching for Bigfoot.
Oh, this is 4
He's got a
5
new
years
show. He's got a new show on Spike.
Yeah.
With my pal Todd Dishotel. They go searching for Bigfoot.
Brian, wait till I get you.
What happened? the girl's makeup? Is that what it was?
No,
They dress you up like a girl?
In
You know
that
why?
one movie,
Do you know why? Because they're scared of you, just like they do with black men.
No.
What, Maeda? Think about it. All the black
was
men,
the
they dress up like women?
That was the 3rd movie we did.
Yeah.
That's it. They never dressed me up like a woman again.
Dave Chappelle had a whole speech that he did on one of those talk shows about it. About, man, why is it when a black man gets famous, they always try to dress him up like a girl? It's true. Eddie Murphy. Think about all the different people. Jamie Foxx. Think about all the different people that are dressed. Keenan Ivory Wayans. Think about all the different people. Big, strong black men, and it's hilarious. They dress up like women. Why, Joe Diaz? Why'd they do it to you?
That was just the 3rd.
Because they've seen your dick online. That's what it
No.
is. They've seen the Cuban egg roll
Let it
floating out there like the Death Star,
Let
deep
it go.
space.
What's wrong with you? You know what I'm saying? We're over here. I'm stoned to the gills. I got Duncan to the right of me, Red Band to the left of me, and you got to be over here, you know.
Duncan, when you jumping back into the comedy world again?
This Saturday, I'll be at the Comedy Store.
Oh, good. Googly
Googly
moogly.
moogly.
What time, cocksucker?
10:45
Oh,
originally.
There's something about that place, right? Still to this day.
Yes.
This Sabbath.
Exotic place.
Isn't that where fucking Hobo made his debut?
That's exactly where he made
You know what I'm
his
saying?
debut.
Who you
Who's
think is-
Hobo?
Little
Hobo.
Hobo. Little Hobo.
Hey,
Oh,
you
the
forgot
store?
about
Yeah.
me.
Little
What's the new Hobo like?
I've retired hobo.
Shut the fuck up. Why would you do that when it's not on video?
That's
Listen.
why.
Listen to
Why
me.
does everything have to be
Listen.
on video?
Because the other people should enjoy it too. What you developed was something that was really
It
beautiful.
was real.
Well, you know the problem. There's a technical problem, which is that it uses a Pink Floyd song, and I super doubt that if I email them, they're gonna be like, "Yeah, you could use one of the most famous songs on earth for your comedy album."
Guess what?
What?
That's a small part of that bit. Very small. That's not even
You
1/10 of 1% of that bit.
But
But
that's
that
the-
bit is, I don't want to say anymore because I don't want it to be a spoiler. You don't need that song, dude. That's silly.
But I feel, like the next time I go back out on the road, I don't think I can bring Little Hobo. I
Talk
can't,
to him, Joey Diaz. Tell him to put that fucking shit down on wax.
I can't keep doing it though. You can't keep doing something. Then
You
it's
don't
like-
have to keep doing it. You
don't-
just have to do it and get it on DVD or
Right.
get it on a video that put it on the internet. For that little hobo bit to not get out there in the world is a crime against humanity.
Aw, thanks, Joe.
So you need to
guys
figure
are
that
very
out.
Nice. Thank you.
You need to figure that out. You need to figure out how you're going to get that out there.
Okay.
Because I can't tell you how many times I've fucking howled with laughter at that bit. I've seen that bit close to 100 times, maybe.
Yeah,
I mean, all the
maybe.
times we work together.
I love doing it.
It's a fucking great bit, dude. People need to see that. It's fun, and it's so you. It's so you. If anybody
really
was like
is.
wondering, what kind of comedy does Duncan do?
Yeah.
I'd be like, you got 6 minutes? Sit down and watch this.
You know what's fucking cool though, man? I can't give too much of it away, but I am going to be puppeteering a puppet. I'm going to be using a puppet for this show we're doing for MTV Digital that we're shooting right now. It's going to be really cool. A lot of spooky spooky sketches.
Okay, let's get into the Duncan psyche. Let's find out what that's all about. Joey Diaz used to always say, this motherfucking Duncan's always playing around with the devil. One of these days he's going to fucking realize that devil's going to bite him right in the ball sack.
It did.
Did it? Did it really?
Took one of my balls.
On the storm.
No. I don't really. No, I was just kidding.
Fucking pun intended,
I'm just
Joe
kidding.
Rogan. No. You know, listen, man.
There's no dark side.
You can't be fucking around with the devil, Duncan Trussell.
Well,
You
that
think you're being cute, all hee-hees and ha-has, watching the cartoons. SpongeBob.
get
Well,
that.
but my point is, I'm just joking around about that. But my point is, like, what is your fascination with this demonic idea? You're drawn to that angle so often. Like, what is it?
Drawn to what angle?
Drawn to the angle of, obviously I don't believe that you think in these things, like as far as being reality, but the idea of a demonic entity, the idea of evil incarnate. I mean, you've often talked about evil as like a philosophical idea, like a location that you can get to.
You know, man, I've changed a lot in my life, and there was a time when I actually did believe that there was and I still have. I know people who do believe in this kind of thing, but
You know why you don't anymore?
what?
You know why you don't anymore?
Why?
Your girlfriend's 24.
You think that's why I don't believe in evil anymore?
As you look at her vagina, it's like drinking out of a spring when you've been trapped in the desert. You're trapped in the desert and you come down the hill and what is this? Is this an oasis? Is this a hallucination? And you get in that cold Colorado spring water and you just lap it up.
24's not old, Joe.
That's not what I'm saying,
I'm just
Brian.
kidding, that was a joke.
I get it. I know it was a joke.
I think it's more of a,
There's that, too, though.
You know what I like?
There's that too.
Well, I think that's a. I don't.
Very good point.
That is not a.
Huge point. Joe Diaz.
I'd like to say that.
He's a savage.
You guys are embarrassing me. But I like the in Hinduism. I like the whole cycle of things. So
Someone's panicking. They're going straight to the Bhagavad Gita.
That's what I
Oh,
think.
Jesus Christ. Here we go.
Fuck off,
It's fucking Hindu time.
you assholes! You ass!
Let's talk about Congress and the Diebold voting machines,
I can smell
man.
fucking lottery ticket. Let me get that midnight moon, whatever the fuck that is. Don't let me smell that.
We'll get a little blast of this. We're drinking moonshine here on the 400th
again,
episode. Duncan, I pushed one in front of you. Do you not drink anymore? Or are you scared?
I'm trying to lose weight, so I'm not drinking alcohol.
That's not going to help you. Being a pussy is not going to help you lose weight. It's the
Being a
exact
pussy.
opposite of what's going to help you lose weight. What's going to help you lose weight is being a savage. And what a savage does is occasionally they have a drink because they're a fucking man. They do whatever they want to do, and then they do squats.
Well, what I want to do is not drink.
Listen to me. I have kettlebells here in this building. I can help
Are you
you
gonna
burn
throw
off.
one at me if
I'm going to
don't
help you
drink?
work out. After this podcast is over, I'll show you a squat routine that you can do with a fucking 32 kilogram.
Okay, great.
Okay, great.
How much proof is this?
1,000. It's like
Oh
it's
my
evil.
God.
It'll hurt your mother.
Oh
If you
my
drink
God.
that shit, your dead parents will fucking kick around their graves. If you drink that shit, kids you grew up with in high school will crash into trees.
My God, that shit's fucking strong.
It's so strong, it's ridiculous. People you've never met will get drunk. People you meet in a week will fucking pass
Does it
out at
taste
work.
good? Does it taste good?
It actually tastes pretty good. It's not as strong as a
Depends
regular
on
moonshine.
what you think good is. If you're talking about good Kool-Aid, no.
How about Dew is good with ice cubes?
What it tastes like, it's not that brutal. It's interesting. They did whatever this is. Jamie, what is this? What's the name of this company?
Old Smoky, I think it is.
Whoever these people are, they're bad motherfuckers.
Yeah.
They know how to make some real moonshine. Because I've had some scary moonshine that hurts, and I've had some moonshine like this that's pretty fucking smooth, while letting you know that it's fucking you up.
But
The
if you talk to
name-
somebody in Kentucky, they would be like, yeah, that's like the wine cooler of moonshines compared to them, like building it in the backyard and stuff
I
like
don't
that.
know, man. This stuff's pretty good.
fucking
Duncan
good.
and I had some stuff in North Carolina. Remember when we ate at that slamming barbecue joint?
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yep.
That place was it called?
I can't remember, but it's fucking good.
If you're in Raleigh, hold on a second. I need to let these motherfuckers get their props. Raleigh barbecue BBQ. We ate the Pit. It was at the Pit. That's exactly what it was. I thought it was. They gave us some moonshine, some like peach moonshine. Oh my God, it was good. God damn, it was good. First of all, the barbecue there. If you're in Raleigh, that place is sensational. Oh, It's so good. It has 4 stars if you go to like the reviews online, but that's just because 10% of the people in the world have their fucking head deep in their ass. Like if the world was just and pure, that would be a 5-star place, no doubt about it. And they had this insane peach moonshine, and you would drink it and you go, whoa.
Yeah.
And you also like it because you know it's illegal.
You know I hate booze, right? You know I hate the taste of booze.
Yeah,
That's fucking delicious.
this is good.
That's delicious.
They know what they're doing.
That's delicious.
Real moonshine is over 100 proof, as high as 150 proof, which is about 75% alcohol.
It's like
So you're drinking.
freebasing.
Yeah, you're pretty much just drinking.
You're freebasing booze.
And what is this stuff?
It should say on the side of
Does
it.
it say the proof?
Yeah, it should say right on the bottle.
So
right
if you
there.
eat
Can you
bad,
read it, Joey?
if you eat bad
Pull out
pussy
those-
and you eat this and you drink this, you're saved.
It'll save you.
You're good.
It'll
That's
kill
good.
all the HPV.
That'll kill all the HPV right out of your fucking tonsils.
You won't go
and
on
shit.
Michael Douglas.
I won't be spitting fucking
I can't
little
read
yellow
this.
buttons tomorrow.
I can't read the proof. Where does it say it? Does it say it in the front?
Here you go. I'm sorry.
Oh,
There you go. That's good too.
it says 50%. Is that 100 proof? Why wouldn't you say 100 proof? Oh, it does say 100 proof. Another spot.
100 proof? Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it's
not
100
bad.
proof. It's not bad.
No, it's not bad. It's pretty
What's
good.
whiskey?
90.
90 proof?
Yeah.
So it's just a little stronger than whiskey.
That tastes delicious though. With,
Now,
with some
that's
ice cubes,
not
with a
really
fucking
moonshine.
cigar.
Oh, yeah.
With an ice cube, but a little mild cigar, guys. Or not a big one, a little one. 3 hours to kill. Maybe something to watch in a fucking casino in Vegas while you're, you
Like a
know,
Monte Cristo.
something. Yeah, a little Monte Cristo. That's perfect.
The problem is when Jamie first originally gave it to me, I didn't think it was that strong, so I was just drinking it like a drink, and I almost drank like a half a
yeah,
bottle
you
of
got
it,
fucked up,
and that's like
bro.
drinking a half bottle of Jack Daniels.
Yeah, you get fucked up.
How many guys did you fuck that night?
Just you.
What?
Oh shit! So this is
jealous,
this is
Joe.
legal to sell.
Shut up!
Like
This
fucking.
fucking podcast sucks.
So teach me
I
about
quit.
this. This is legal to sell.
Yeah, that's actually you
That's
can buy that
And I
at
can go
grocery
to a bar.
stores.
I can go to a bar and get this
Yeah.
shit.
This has a barcode on it.
Wow,
Yeah.
Midnight Moon. That is
Yeah.
fucking delicious with ice cubes.
As long as they have
You
one of
can do
those
a lot
fucking
with
things
that
on
shit.
it, that's legit. That means it's gone through the government taxes and all that shit. Man, I wonder what the fuck is going to happen to this country now that we realize that these assholes can't communicate. They can't get along so badly that they're shutting the government down. Like they're throwing a temper tantrum, and then they're not working their way through this, and they're shutting the government down.
I read this thing on Reddit that I thought was a really cool solution, which is adding to the Constitution some way to, if this happens, to do re-elections for everyone, so that we can just
Yeah,
we can wipe the slate.
that's
what
a
we-
good idea.
that's
That's
what we need.
incompetence.
Yeah,
That's
it's
clear
a-
incompetence.
And apparently, if like all the states wanted to do that, there's a way to do that. There's actually a way for the states to band together so that we can do complete re-elections and get since it's not working, they can't do their jobs. It's not working. Let's get new people in there. But then
Have you
there's
seen Rand Paul and some other dude got caught in a conversation with their mics on about the reactions that people are going to have to all this?
no. What do they say?
They're just talking about hedging their bets. They're just talking about saying all the things, the talking points, or all the things they were willing to compromise on, but the
Right.
president wasn't. And it's really spooky stuff because it comes down to this gigantic system grinding to a halt because a bunch of people are in an ego battle and they're playing a game of chess.
Well, it's almost like the founding fathers built into the machine a thing that I think is supposed to alert the population that we have to do something more. I think that's what that is. I mean, I just saw, I hate saying this. I mean, I don't know why I hate saying it, but I just saw Jesse Ventura on Piers Morgan, and he was giving this very like intelligent, cogent description of what's happening, and he was saying this means that we need to have a revolution, and it doesn't have to be violent, but we do need to revolutionize the way government works, because right now it's not working, and the reason it's not working is because there is a percentage of people who don't believe that they should have to that the government can impose health insurance, or that can make people buy health insurance.
You know what I think? I think the government has to adapt just like the porn industry did. The porn industry came along and the internet came along and clipped the fucking legs out of the porn industry. Is there still porn available, Brian?
Yes.
There is. That's right. You know why? Because they adjusted. they did what they had to do. And I think the government needs to do the same.
What?
The internet does not allow the government to be the same entity.
Right.
It's too obvious where the money comes from. We know too much about lobbyists. We know too much about the influence of corporations. We know too much about Congress and how Congress has been influenced to the point where they're willing to actually allow corporations to vote as humans and with their money and have no limits on how much they can contribute to individual candidates who will eventually serve their business needs once they get into office. It's nonsense. And we know it's nonsense now because of the internet. Just like we know that $39.99 for a DVD with, insert the blank, Tara Patrick. That's not, you don't have to do that when you can go to YouTube, YouPorn, and just, it's free. Just beat off online.
Yeah.
And we know that now. So that kicked out the legs.
Yes.
Digital information, one's in a very different way, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
The internet has kicked out the legs of politics, and politics is holding on by a fucking claw. They're hanging on like that kitten in
we have to
hang in there poster.
It's getting to the point where we have to do something. Like it's
or it will happen, just like the Ice Age eventually stopped, or just like war eventually ends, just like we got out of Vietnam, just like the Civil War ended. Something will eventually break. We'll get to a point where we're like, enough.
Yeah. Well, let's just hope. I mean, I don't. By the way, lately I've just been trying to avoid the news, which is hard when you're addicted to Reddit. But I've been trying to avoid it completely. But the if what they're saying, if it's not just a bunch of bullshit, if what they're saying is true, then we could go into another recession because of this. This could drive us into another recession.
Yeah, that's the
and if
word.
that's the case, then then that means that we have to get there needs to be a new government because there's no reason for us to go into another recession. How many of them are there in the government?
Yeah, how many?
How many senators? How many congressmen?
That's a really good question.
How many? Is it? I don't know the exact amount. There's an exact amount. What is it? 200 people?
7.
Yeah, it's.
And how many people are on the planet or on Earth? And how many people are in the United States? Because the shit that happens in the United States affects the entire planet. So it's like the fact that I don't know. It's sad that I don't know the number of senators and congressmen in the.
You don't need to. It's all nonsense.
It's whatever this tiny, tiny, tiny number is compared to the ocean of humanity. The fact that they're creating an unnecessary situation where we could all theoretically suffer shows that we as the people have been conditioned to believe that we're powerless. And so that conditioning needs to go away. And the moment it did and we organized in a nonviolent way, then they would immediately start listening to us. It's just that everyone gets so mad. Oh, the government doesn't represent the people anymore. It's like, well, that may be true, but what are we doing to organize to make it so that they start listening to us again? We need to do that.
Yeah and no. I mean, yeah, and that something's got to change. And no, in that really what would be optimal is if the people that were in positions of power realized they were fucking over the world. That would be the best. If they just said, hey, guys,
Right.
we ate some peyote and we realized we're a bunch of cunts.
Yeah.
So we're willing to try to figure out a way how to reward people for the work that they've already done,
Right.
but yet move forward in a much more ethical way of distributing wealth.
Good luck, man.
Good luck, because that's socialism talk, you fucking commie.
And these people are fucking human fossils.
Yeah.
Imagine taking peyote with Boehner. Imagine can you imagine looking across at that guy and he's like transforming into Howdy Doody in front of you? His eyes are glowing red. No way, man. I don't know if it's possible. It seems like these are earlier versions of human beings whose entire operating system is needed an update since the 70s. Imagine if you hadn't updated your iPhone since when iPhones came out. That's what these people are like with information.
But they're way worse than iPhones. These motherfuckers,
'Cause they murder.
They're on a BBS board in the early 90s.
Yeah.
With a 14.4 modem.
Yeah.
And the shit cuts out every 5 minutes. They're not on top of the ball at all.
Yeah, well, it's the whole thing's fucking wrong, man. I really liked. I had Christopher Ryan on my podcast, and he was talking about how in indigenous cultures, the people who never are allowed to become leaders are the people who indicate that they want to be leaders. Like, those are always the ones people avoid as being the leaders, and the ones who end up being leaders are the ones who know the most about certain things like fishing or hunting. Those people are naturally followed.
Right.
They don't fucking throw makeup on and try to get in front of try to hypnotize a country by saying the exact same thing everyone always says.
Good evening.
Yeah.
My fellow Americans.
President talk. That weird cadence. Why are you talking like that? What the fuck is
Exactly.
that?
We've talked about that 100
Yeah.
times on this show. You and I
So
have had
weird.
this conversation. Like, if you were sitting at home with a guy and he started talking to you like that, you would stop him. He'd be like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Are you trying to hypnotize me?
Can you imagine if Joey Diaz was sitting across from Obama? Joey, what we're dealing with right now, bipartisan efforts have been reached. We have reached out to Republicans. They're unwilling to bargain.
Yeah.
He'd be like, "You're fucking killing me, dog.
Yeah, don't-
Why are you talking to me like that?
Oh yeah, and also the
You're
way
freaking me the fuck out. I was North Bergen, New Jersey, 1978. Look at this picture. Look at me, motherfucker. I'm on a basketball team with a bunch of guineas, one black guy, and a Filipino. Why are you talking to me like that?"
it's what's happening is diffusion of it's
Joey's gone. You're so gone. I've never
I'm
seen you
just
more
saying.
gone at
I'm
a
watching
podcast.
my boy. I'm listening over here. I'm listening.
How high are you on a scale of 1 to a billion?
I'm like 6.
for Joey Diaz to be this high, man. Whatever you took must have fallen out of a
I gotta see what that
spaceship.
is. I gotta see what that is.
That shit must have come out of a time machine
see
from
what
the
that is.
future.
It's that dude that we met in Utah, the black hole with the bulletproof wolf that popped out.
A portal opened up and
Hey.
a worm vomited
There-
out whatever you ate.
The orbs, basically the orbs.
Yeah, man. I've
Took a
never
cookie to Joey Diaz's house.
I've never seen you like this, but
I'm thinking about people who smoke dope and people who don't smoke dope, and how the people who don't smoke dope worry me.
yeah.
Because the people who don't smoke dope have just called me 8 times after I told them for the last 8 days that I was doing your podcast today from 1 to whatever. They've continually called me today. And the people who don't smoke, the people who smoke dope, they don't bother me. They're
Right.
at home. They ain't trying to fucking call me.
what do you
It's
mean?
amazing.
What do you mean people who don't smoke?
Just a friend
dope?
of mine that wanted to do something Friday.
Oh, I see.
And I said to him, "Listen, I'm going to be busy from like 1 to like 5, maybe 6. Maybe I won't see you.
Yeah.
But I'll call you when I get out of there."
Yeah.
He's already called me 3 times since I've been in here.
Yeah, it's
You
weird.
getting mad? You getting mad?
No, I'm not getting.
Motherfucker.
I'm not
What did
getting
I tell
mad. I
you?
just thought I spoke to him about it, and it's just weird how people don't fucking listen. They don't listen. They don't care
Yeah.
to listen. They don't want to listen. You know.
Right.
It's just. It's always. You know. So that's it. That's what I was thinking.
That's it. These motherfuckers don't want to listen.
They don't want to fucking listen. I don't ask for much.
Who does want to listen, Joey?
Nobody.
Me neither. I don't want to listen.
That's why we did.
Too
that.
busy with my own shit. I'm trying to sort out my own shit.
That's right.
Don't need to listen to anybody.
That's right.
Duncan.
Man, when
Trussell?
you get around somebody who's listening to you, it's the coolest feeling ever. Like, wow.
Hence the 24-year-old girlfriend is mystified. You string words
Stop.
together like a wizard.
No.
Like, buddy, you know I love you.
You're a savage. You take these girls. I love it.
You teach them.
You teach.
You're a
I'm
guru.
not teaching. This is she's really super
Oh,
fucking
she is.
smart.
We're just
No.
joking around.
Yeah.
These are jokes.
Very smart.
See, this is honorable because you like her so much. This is where you stop joking. You like halted the joke. You're like, come on, guy. Oh yeah. Like you can't even joke around about it because you actually like her.
Well,
It's sweet.
if we were,
It's sweet. It's sweet.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
I think you're supposed to do that.
You are. Well, it just shows that that's who you really are. You know that you really like the chick. She's cool. Nothing wrong with being 24. I was 24 once. By the way, when I was 24, I was dumb as fuck. You wouldn't want to be friends with me. If I was 24 and I was in this room, you'd be like, "Get that dickhead out
Same
of
with me.
here. Go."
Same with me. I was so dumb.
We didn't have the internet.
What?
We didn't have the internet. We didn't have it.
Well, I had rudimentary. We had rudimentary internet.
Please, you didn't have the real internet.
You had to download JPEGs, and it would take a long time. You just would hope that it would like click over the tits so you could start masturbating. That's what porn used to be: is waiting for those lines of pixels to roll down the screen.
Well, I think that it took a long time for us to figure out what to do with it. So the early internet, like I was on the internet in '94, but I didn't learn a goddamn thing until 2003.
Right.
I didn't learn anything. It was all just talking shit and message boards and downloading porn and nonsense. And then somewhere along the line, that all got boring, and I started learning shit. I think we started paying attention more to things. It was also like the 3 years into my pot journey. I started with the weed around 2000. So that's when I started questioning a lot of different things at about 2000, delving into the internet deeper.
Thank God for the internet. It's revolutionizing everything, man. Even like fucking taxis, like Uber.
Oh, it's amazing.
Are you fucking shitting me, man? It's the exact same price as a taxi.
Tell people what it is.
There's a. I'm not sponsored by them at all. I just love them. I just used them. I only used them once. It was incredible. But there's a company called Uber. It's an app, and you go onto Uber. You click a button, and when I did it the first time, they send like a limo to your house, and it was there in 2 minutes. It's the exact same price, maybe $5 more than a taxi. And it's incredible.
Yeah, it's a sweet move. It's great in New York City.
It's amazing, and and the taxi companies in LA took them to court and tried to sue them so that they couldn't exist.
Really?
Because it's such a competition.
Well, I just talked to a taxi driver all about this, and he said there's good reasons for it too. My friend, this guy I know drove for one of the Uber type things, like I think it was Lyft. He got in a car accident with 3 other people while he was driving, and you would think like Lyft or this company would insure everybody, but no, he's getting sued by everybody in the car, and his insurance isn't supposed to be covering, when he's working, and a lot of these people don't have the right insurances. So when you're in an Uber or something like that, they're not getting approved by the state, they're not getting insured. So it's kind of almost illegal in some ways. So what?
Well, I would never do anything illegal.
Right. But the taxi drivers all have their own apps now. Like the Yellow Cab app it's the exact same thing Uber has now. So they're actually catching up, trying to do.
Yeah,
this
but
shit.
still, even if the Yellow Cab app works, you're still in the back of a fucking taxi.
Yeah.
With Uber, you're in like a super nice car, bottled water in the back.
Yeah.
And it's the same. The main crazy thing about it is it's like $5 more. Right. They can't compete. There's no way they're going to compete with that. Like, once people start really finding out about it, who's going to call a fucking cab? Why?
Yeah, why would you?
And it takes longer to get a cab. When I did the Uber thing, it was there in 2 minutes. Like, when you see your dog take a shit and instantaneously there's a fly on the shit, and you're like, how is that possible? Where do they come from? Are they everywhere?
That's fucking Uber.
There's so many people out there driving limos.
Yeah.
The number of people driving limos is pretty gigantic.
It's amazing. Now.
Yeah.
I mean, think about where you're at. You're in the Los Angeles area. The amount of airport pickups are what limo driving is all about.
Right.
I worked for Fifth Avenue Limo in Boston, and 90% of my work was airport pickups.
I work
Pick
for a
people
limo
up,
driver too.
take them to New Hampshire, take them anywhere from Logan Airport, like in a 100-mile spiral, in any direction.
Awesome.
Yeah, so there's always a bunch of people waiting around. Like that's the other crazy thing about limos is those motherfuckers work insane amount of hours. Like, it's not just a crazy like regular job, like 12 hours a day, 16, 17, 18, go back home, sleep for a few hours. They'll call you in the morning. I worked until 2 o'clock in the morning. These motherfuckers were calling me at 6, asking me to come back in.
Wow.
And I was like, you're fucking crazy. And they were like, look, you got debt, you got credit card payment problems, you got this, you got that. We'll take care of you. I'll tell you what, we got a fucking bounty of work. And they're like, see Mikey over here? The guy had a Boston College sticker on his Cadillac. Didn't go to college. He just liked Boston College. Right? He was just a limo driver. It was kind of a sad character. This guy all he did was work. And it's like, he makes a good living. He doesn't have to bust his ass. He's in here 16, 17, 18 hours a day sometimes. And he was like, that's how you do it. And he gets in his car and he drives off. And we're like he's got a nice apartment. He's got a nice Cadillac he's driving. Meanwhile, this guy was a slave. He was a slave to veal scallopini at the nice Italian restaurant that he could get anytime he wants. He was a slave to the fact that he had a nice apartment with a nice view. He looked out his window. He felt like a winner. And he was a slave to his Cadillac with his BC sticker on it. And this fucking guy worked every day. And you could do that. The good thing was, if you were in a hole, you were in a financial hole, it was good. They paid well. You could work and you could make good living. That guy made more than $60,000 a year driving limos. And this was back in 1990, not even, 1989. So it was a long time ago.
You know what else is cool about Uber? I'm sorry, Joey.
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, Uber also, listen, Uber obviously is $5 more than a cab. So what that does is that undercuts everybody again.
Yeah.
Like, that lowers the price. I mean, it's good for us, but it's like...
Well, it's good for them, too. It's just
at
bad
least
for
they're
cabs.
busy. At least they're busy.
It's bad for cabs.
At least they're busy.
Yeah.
At least instead of, that same ride would cost $85, now with Uber probably costs $55. Right?
Did I ever tell you when I drove Jeff Beck? I drove Jeff Beck. Well, I don't know if he was in my van, and the the manager, it was I was picking up rock stars on a regular basis, and the manager for Annie Lennox was there too. And we went to some hotel where we saw Annie Lennox, but I wanted to get Stevie Ray Vaughan. I was a big Stevie Ray Vaughan fan. Stevie Ray Vaughan refused limos, would not take limos, rode it in cabs. So all he did was ride in cabs. You have a limo waiting for Stevie Ray Vaughan, he'd be like, thanks. And he'd like, taxi. He'd put his hand up, get a taxi, throw his bag in fucking the back seat, and bring his guitar in there with him, and that's it. He was gone. He didn't want to ride in your limo, man. He wasn't interested.
Wow.
It's really kind of interesting because they had a limo for him at LA or at Logan Airport in Boston. He's like, I'm not
He
interested.
probably liked the thick smell of soup, farts, and cologne.
Well, he probably could do heroin much more comfortably in the back of a cab.
Oh, yeah, right.
I don't know if this was the time where he was doing heroin or if he was just being authentic. Or, some people just decide that, like, you gotta, in order to do real art like that, like real Stevie Ray Vaughan type music, you gotta be down.
Gotta be in the gutter.
You gotta be down with the people. It's not about the gutter. I mean, a cab driver's not the gutter, but a cab driver's down. That's a real dude.
Right.
You're driving around a city and you're taking a cab, and the cab is driven by a guy who lives in the city. That's a guy who's working, but he's also on the grind. That's a real dude,
Sure, man. That's one way to look at things, but every time I get in a fucking cab, I feel like somebody just maced me with their car. I don't feel like I'm with the fucking people. I feel like I'm in a gas chamber filled with shitty cologne.
Well, Jakar's all right, man. If you're trying to get laid and you live in Revere.
Not when it's mixed with garlic burps and the smell of somebody's rotting.
PETA.
The smell of somebody's rotting prostate. Every day they just pour Jakar into their asshole to try to cover up this rotting stink of their intestines.
Riders on the storm, dum 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 dum. Riders on the storm, dum 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 dum. Duncan, Saturday night comedy store.
Yes.
Joe Diaz, where are you going to be at?
Next week, I'm with Ari Shafir at Cobb's.
Suck upon it,
Thursday,
people.
Friday, and Saturday.
Suck
Next
upon
week,
it.
And get your shit together.
That's a fucking fantastic
Strap
show.
that motherfucker on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Don't fuck around.
Joey Diaz. Ari Shafir is very funny right now, man. He's on
fire.
point.
Yeah, no, we got this.
He's
This
on
is a good
point.
fucking show. This is a great show. Man.
Well, everybody's been accelerating. It's been fun to watch. I'm not going to say the bit, but the bit that you and I talked about on the phone that you're doing now, I don't want to say what it is, but it's fucking hilarious.
Thanks,
I love
man.
watching everybody like hit some new levels. That Liberace bit is one of the funniest bits I've seen in decades.
Write new shit. I'm
That-
trying, man. It's
That's
hard.
It is
It's
hard.
so hard to write and tuck something away and go, I'm going to write something around it. And you get on stage, but you know what? I'm getting into the 15-minute bit now. I'm starting to dig those long sets now.
Yeah.
I'm starting to realize that for years the 15-minute fuck around set in town was working. Now I just stay home and sleep. I just go into town a night early and do Thursday night and bring the notebook with me. And by Friday, I'm fucking loose, man. It's really nice to.
There's a different game. You notice the difference game in the hour game.
Yeah,
the hour game is different than the 15-minute
Yeah, you
game.
learn a lot more, man. It's and the only way to do it is to do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like anything else. It's to do it. You can talk about it, you can write. I'm trying to write my hour. You're not going to write it, bro. You got to get up off your ass and go out and do it.
I felt the difference in when I lived in New York, too. It's one of the reasons why I did very few sets in New York City. I was like, this 7-minute set is just not cutting it. 7, 10 minutes, that's not cutting it either. Like, I barely got warmed up. I barely get cranking. And when you're going on the road and you're doing these long sets, it's the difference between doing a trailer and doing a movie.
Yeah.
Right.
The trailer, you develop a totally different style.
Yep.
You have this like real quick, get to the point quickly, shock them early, be nice to them, but yeah, get your point across. Thank you, good night. And it's a sprint. It's a wild sprint. You're running up a hill. But the set, when you're doing an hour and 10, hour and 15, hour and 30, that's a different animal. That's an animal where you're establishing a mindset.
Yeah.
You got to do that all the time to do that.
And that's such a jarring thing when you've been doing that and then you come back and do a 15-minute set. It feels
really
so
hard.
fucking weird.
It's less jarring, though, than the other way. The other way is way brutal when you're going from a 15-minute set and you think you know what you're doing, and all of a sudden you have to do 45, and you get 35 minutes in, and you're like, I'm done. Yikesies. Yikesies, I got no material left. Where you from, sir? And the fucking panic in your eyes. And just thinking, do I have any jokes I haven't done? Is there anything I haven't done? Is there anything I'm working on that I haven't done?
Scrambling through the Rolodex of your stone brain desperately for some scrap of a joke.
Well, for me back then, it was not even stoned. It was hot. It was totally straight.
Right.
It was totally straight brain. For the first few years, I didn't even like have a beer before I went on stage. I didn't want to have that as a crutch. I remember the first time I went on stage, I was shitting my pants. I was like, maybe I should go get a drink, calm myself down. And I was like, stupid, if you do that, you're going to need a drink every time you go on stage.
Right.
Just take your medicine, dummy. I remember telling myself that, and I just went out. 21 years old, take my medicine.
Smart boy.
Luckily. Crazy and smart at the same time. Crazy enough to know. It's like a really smart kid who gets a 500 horsepower car and really shouldn't be able to drive it. Like, you got to be careful, stupid. You got to know what the fuck you're doing with this thing. You're going to hit the gas and fly off a cliff. Riders on the storm.
Duncan Trussell looking with the fucking
Joey
beard.
Diaz.
Looking sharp with the fucking...
You've abandoned the fedora. Is this permanent?
I've abandoned it.
Can I shave your head?
No. No.
and just leave
Yes.
the beard like...
Look at this, my friend. Look at
Tremendous.
this. That's what freedom looks like.
No
See
way,
that?
man.
Oh, you say no way.
No,
Say
that
no
looks
way.
great, but I'm in no way. I'm never shaving my fucking head, man. That's it.
I am happy that I made all the mistakes that I made. All the mistakes that I made me who I am today, and I've made them work for me. But if I could change one thing, it would be, not that I would necessarily, I like the fact that I talk about the fact that I panicked about losing my hair, and so I got hair transplants, and I got a
Yeah.
stupid scar on the back of my head.
Yeah.
But logically, the one thing that makes the least amount of sense, I should have shaved my fucking head when I was like 21. I should have said, you know what, this ain't gonna last. I should have just went with it, because this is like so comfortable. It's so like easy to do. It's so relaxing. It's a non-factor now, and I know it's still a factor for you, my friend.
Here's the thing, man. Here's the real factor. You do every single thing cult leaders do, and I figure shaving my head, I might as well go to the airport and start handing out USBs with your podcast in it.
Just a little FYI, if I ever do start a cult, I'm not interested in being a leader.
No, of course
Okay?
not. They never
You're
are.
a leader. You're a leader. You can be lead. Tell me what to do. I'll let you go. I don't give a fuck. You can be the leader.
Sure. This is what they play on the documentary after the mass suicide.
Listen, behind that comet is a spaceship. It is a spaceship, but they won't take you unless you cut your balls off. So it's up to you.
Just shave
You want to
your head.
live on this earth and be in perpetual hell, or do you want to cut your balls off, put on the Nikes, get on this fucking spaceship?
Yeah. Why not?
God, Duncan.
Why not? Take some Alpha Brain before you do it.
Take 6.
And do some
Take-
jumping jacks, the alpha brain, some
Kettlebells,
reform,
shave
some
your head.
kettlebells, a hemp force. When is the vanilla coming out anyway?
It's out.
Is it out?
Yeah,
already?
I just got a new bottle of it. It's vanilla with acai, hemp force protein powder. It's fucking special.
What's the vanilla taste like?
Ooh, delicious. It's so good. We nailed it. We took a long time.
That's what you
This
said.
is not a slow process. It's been really, first of all, Aubrey is amazing.
Yes.
You want to talk about a pure person,
He's so
a
cool.
guy with pure intentions and a hardworking dude and a smart guy and deserves every good thing that's happened to him. He's just an amazing guy.
Yeah.
Like, he's a really unique individual. And you get it from his podcast. You get it from he puts down these videos. Like he made this one video about the psychedelic experience. I mean, he's a smart motherfucker. And I found no weaknesses in his fence. Like poking people's fences and shit, trying to figure out where the weakness is. He's the real deal, man. He's a young guy too. It's very admirable watching someone like go about trying to make a business and do it correctly, and do it in this day and age with all the scrutiny of the internet and all the cons just raining down shit rain on your head, just opening their asshole above your head and just emptying their bowels of failure upon your head at every point, always like. And in their defense, if you pay attention to most of human behavior, you're going to find people tend to gravitate towards the worst if they can get away with it. They get away with what they can get away with. But the beautiful thing about people who are true psychedelic explorers, and that's a fucking gross term, but I'm going to use it anyway, even though it's been co-opted. True psychedelic explorers really are trying to do the right thing at all times, and they understand that you have this beautiful way of describing this thing about acting in a famine state, and that it fucks people up because they act in this famine state, and the same amount of resources are available, but you go into a panic, whereas someone who acts in a state of community and abundance has a much different reaction from the same amount of resources, the same circumstances, the same, completely based on the attitude.
Well, yeah, and to get that sense of abundance, you actually have to experience that there is abundance. That's the thing. You can't fake it. You need to connect with what some people call the source or whatever you want to call it. But once you connect with that thing, you realize that you're going to be fine. Your body isn't going to be fine. The planet, as George Carlin says, the planet's fine, but humans are fucked. Well, you go into that state, you realize, well, you're not permanent, but you realize there's a much, much greater thing happening than you. And once you plug into that, it gets more difficult to get back into those ego games that are usually based on defending whatever you consider to be the most important thing in your life.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Yeah, I completely see where you're coming from. Joey Diaz, you done?
You know me, Doug. I'm just waiting here for something. I need to see an opening. I need to see something to feed. You know, you guys are talking about planets.
Riders on the storm.
Fucking Galacticos.
We're talking about North Bergen, New Jersey, 1978, slinging
You know what I'm
dick
saying?
like a fucking,
I'm over
like
here
a
with Red
banshee
Band.
on a trapeze.
Red Band, what's going on? You
With
over
a
there
dick like a
quiet
carpet
today? Why
roll.
you fucking quiet, Red Band? You're not feeding me lines. You're not upsetting me about
Joey,
I'm
this
like
is
you,
not
Joey.
Red Band's fault.
the micro fucking
Both you
apartments.
guys
You're not
are
fucking
too
talking
high.
to me about the fucking nothing.
You don't get a chance to talk on this podcast.
All right, then, you know, I'm over here waiting for something to drop knowledge, but nobody's giving me a fucking lob.
That's
Nothing.
nonsense.
They're not even throwing me a fastball. They're just throwing me curves and shit.
Who had the biggest
sliders.
dick in your high school basketball team? That you show that picture.
By the way,
No idea.
Come
Joey,
on, you do know. You were telling me about the
I have
biggest
no
time.
idea.
Joey Diaz has this live podcast he does once a month, and I was on his last one, and it was probably one of the funniest, one of the most funnest times I've ever
I
had
had
in
a
my
good
life.
time.
You only
That
do
was-
it once a month now from the Ice
Well,
House?
the
That's it.
live ones,
If
yeah.
I'm busy, I can't do Saturdays. And I switched up last the end of September into the Saturday night or Friday night. It was great. We had a fucking blast. It really was a blast. Really was a blast because a lot of people work during the week.
Right.
So you really can't give them. So I've been trying to work it out, but this month I got busy. I can only do a Wednesday. But I'll try in November to do a Saturday night or something. You know?
Yeah, I think those they're a different dynamic. You know, I don't think it's the best way to do all of them, but it's fun to do some of them
It
somewhere.
really is to see what you draw from the audience. Man.
And that spot is a great spot to do it.
And you get blaze, and it's dark, and you go up there, and it's the perfect place and time to be funny.
Yeah.
It's like going to where they shot Gladiator. You got to fucking kill some motherfucker when they throw you in that stage, correct? Same
Coliseum.
Same thing at the Ice House and that little stage, too.
Yeah.
The energy is so against you. Remember, you have people to the left of you, people to the right of you, and people in fucking front of you, which is very rare. You have people taking your corners away, but not that wall. You can't bomb there. There's
Yeah.
no way to run. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's no way. It's just, and it's perfect. So you're up there and you're fucking, it's like that little cheetah the other night. That little stage was perfect, even though you
Yeah.
had people behind you. Sometimes that type of shit is good.
You're forced to be real in an event environment like that. You only got 5 rows. Like Cheetahs was like 5, 6 rows, and it couldn't have been better. Like those, you know, that story that I told, that was the best I ever told it ever. And part of it is because the energy of the
The
room.
energy in the room. Same thing at the Ice House.
Yeah.
With that, now, to do a podcast in the theater, that's not for me, I don't think. I think it would turn it into a show host condition.
Hey Duncan, look, someone sent you a tweet. It says,
Look at
"Accept
Deep.
the inevitable."
Look
You look
Deep
beautiful.
Trussell. Yeah.
What is
You
it?
look beautiful. It's Duncan Bald.
That's really good.
Here, I'll
Photoshopper.
retweet it, Brian. And
If Duncan
tweet
went
it
to
back.
prison tomorrow, you come out in 10 years, that's what you look like. Nobody will recognize
Okay,
you.
I just retweeted
Where's
it.
Duncan Trussell?
Put it
Hey,
online, bro. You look sexy as fuck. Like
Yeah.
Add a fucking swastika to the forehead, and that's
Hey.
yeah, now we're talking.
You always have to go
Ah,
towards
Jesus
evil.
fucking
Come on,
Christ.
man.
Swastika's not evil.
What about all the Jews out there that were fans?
Where is your bitches?
You son of a bitch.
Talking about Manson.
Big time pimp.
Son
There
of a
you go.
bitch.
That's sexy. See, that doesn't look that bad.
That looks beautiful. Come on, Duncan. I'm
like
telling you.
Yeah,
that
but,
looks better
but
than you look
Malin
right
Khan
now.
did not
Any
accurately
protein bars
depict my hydrocephalic head. That's a nice smooth head. I've
you
got a
keep
warped,
saying that. This-
misshapen.
You don't even know what you're talking about. I have a fucking smiley scar in the back of my head. It doesn't matter.
You look good,
It's the
Duncan.
ultimate test of your ego. Your ego is trying to convince you that you look better with hair. You do not. You look different with hair.
I like
you
having hair.
But okay, that's great then.
But I want to
But
ask
you don't look different.
Why is there a compulsion in all cult leaders to have people shave their head? This
'Cause
is
it
something that really
Makes you
drives
submit.
Because you can't make them shave.
He's so fucking weird.
Because you can't make them shave their asshole. That's all.
Nobody else is like, you got to shave your head. No one I know is like, shave your head. It'll free you.
Riders on the storm.
Dung, gung, 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 gung.
You can follow Duncan Trussell on Twitter. That's DUNCANTRUSSELL. Duncan Trussell in the motherfucking house. Don't bother following him on Facebook because most of those people aren't even really Duncan. You're talking to some strange girl. Some girl pretending to be Duncan who's in love with Duncan.
There's no imposter.
Joey, there's fucking plenty of imposter Duncans. They're sprouting up as we speak. How dare you lie to those people out there and not prepare them for the inevitable? Joey motherfucking Diaz.
What?
You can't get him on Twitter as Joey Diaz.
Mad flavor.
Because he is mad flavor.
Mad flavor.
He is the only semi-white dude who's allowed to have a nom de plume. And is that how you say it?
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Non de plus.
Thank you. It's a pseudonym, ladies and
Thank you.
gentlemen.
Tell him,
Mad
Cobb's
flavor.
motherfucker next weekend.
Mad
with,
flavor.
With
Cobb's.
the Flying Jew, Ari Shafir.
One of the best shows you're going to see,
You're gonna
period,
fucking have a
anywhere.
good time. Attell's up there this week.
Oh, Jesus,
And then we come in.
Louises.
Christina and P is
Boom.
there Sunday.
Tommy
and then
Segura
we come in on
Sunday
fucking
night.
Wednesday. That's
Oh.
how we do it.
Oh.
Opening up doors. Promote.
Oh.
We're ready. We're there, cocksucker.
Oh.
Bring the reefer, THC, the Santana albums. I don't give a fuck.
Oh, we're coming in hot.
Bring the
we're
Grateful
coming in
Dead
hot.
acid. Fuck it.
This weekend, I'm at the Ontario Improv with the one and only Tommy motherfucking Segura, a.k.a. Tommy Buns, a.k.a. High and Tight.
Buns.
And he's there Friday and Saturday. And then on Sunday, it's the wonderful and luscious Tony Hinchcliffe. Tony Hinchcliffe on
house.
Sunday. Perhaps Joey Diaz will be stopping by this weekend, but we can't
Hopefully.
promise anything.
Nah, hopefully.
He may, he may not. He may nap.
Trying to get down there.
He
I'm trying to
may
get down there.
eat 2 cookies and go deep
No,
into the abyss and come back with new information in a physical form.
You know me, guys.
Brian Redband, what's up with you? You got a Friday night at the Ice House tonight?
No, I'm going to be at LA Podfest tonight
Jesus,
with Mark
son.
Maron and Doug Benson doing a live show.
Oh,
but October
son.
31st, Death Squad's at American Comedy Co. for Halloween with Tony Hinchcliffe, Sam Tripoli, and a lot of surprise guests.
Oh, shit.
And then November 20th, San Francisco Punchline.
Oh, shit.
San Francisco Punchline, by the way, one of the 10 greatest clubs
Great
in the
club.
history of comedy. One of the 10 greatest. San Francisco Punchline.
Love it.
It's right up there with me. It's right up there with the Comedy Store or the Comedy Works in Denver. Right up there with the Comedy Store in Hollywood. Those perfectly designed clubs. Punchline San Francisco is the fucking bee's knees, Duncan.
Peace.
Anything to add? This is a beautiful 10th or 400th podcast, whatever it was.
We love you. That's it. I
Love
fucking
you.
love these motherfuckers.
We
you
love
know?
these people.
That moonshine was good.
Can you appreciate all what this is going on, or does it seem like, to me, it seems craziness. It seems like it doesn't even make sense. None of it makes sense. It's just too many people. It's too many numbers. It's too nutty.
I don't want to think about it.
We just did Toronto. We did Toronto, me, Callan, and Tommy Segura. Might have been the fucking craziest weekend we've ever had ever.
Wow.
It was madness. When Brian Callan went on stage to open up the show, the fucking I really wish I filmed it. I fucked up and didn't film it. They went ape shit. I mean, they went fucking ape shit. They went crazy. And then Secure came out. They went crazy.
Wow.
Toronto was amazing. It was amazing. It's like it's hard to quantify how fucking good it was.
Toronto's such a cool city.
It's about as cool as it gets. But there's this thing that we're doing right now. This podcast has changed my life. And I know it's changed your life, and I know it's changed
sure.
all of our lives. It's some
I
crazy
ain't mad
shit.
at nobody.
But it's we found a hole. We found a hole. Pulling people through.
Fuck it.
Come on through, fucks. All right, we love the shit out of you guys, and we will see you next week. We got a lot of people coming up. I'm in negotiations right now. Not negotiations. Conversations. Sam Harris, Maynard Keenan, Neil deGrasse Tyson. We got a lot of coming up. Greg Proops is coming up. We got Graham Hancock is coming back.
Cool.
We should get Dr. Drew, man.
Oh, I would love to get Dr. Drew. David Wilcox. We got a lot of people coming up. A lot of interesting ones into November. I booked a bunch of cool people in November as well. So Dave Asprey's coming back. We got a lot of people coming back. All right. Thank you everybody for allowing us to get to this crazy number of 400. We love the fuck out of you people. We can't believe that this has gotten to where it is. We never saw it coming. Brian and I started almost 400 shows ago, almost 4 years ago, just hanging out in my house with a laptop.
Snowflakes.
Yeah.
Spinning Apple logo.
Yeah, and here we are, having a good time together, still growing, and we grow from you too. We appreciate the fuck out of you guys, and believe me, it's no small thing that we have a great sense of not we owe you guys. I mean, that's how I feel. We have a great sense of attachment. This is not just a one-way street. And we want you to know that we appreciate the fuck out of you guys. There's a massive amount of appreciation from Joey, from Ari, from Brian, from Duncan, from all of us. We love the fuck out of you people. From everybody. Tate and Eddie Bravo feels the same. We all feel the same. And thank you to all our sponsors as well, all of them, including the one that sponsored this show, LegalZoom. Use the code name Rogan, LegalZoom.com, and save yourself some money. Squarespace.com. Use the code word JRE to get yourself $110 awesome bonus situation type activity. And onit.com, use the code name Rogan, save 10% off any and all supplements. All right. We love the fuck out of you guys. Big kiss.
Hare Krishna.